was episode 3. Raw is Rome. We in here. Junior's in here now.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What's up? We're about to start. I don't want to do the Crimson Ghost thing.
Oh,
I'm kind of over it. And now that I'm getting you guys in here, I'm like, let's just start the show. Let's just start the
yeah.
show.
Let's start the show.
I did a new layout based on that footage, that video I posted on Instagram today.
hmm
Uh,
Which was fucking cool, by the way.
you liked it? I was wondering if the turn your phone to the side thing is like douchey, but I really didn't want to crop. I just want to post this like the right way. So I was like, fuck
Nah,
it.
man, I think it's cool.
And I didn't want to take one of the like stock footage ones, so I literally like took some photos I had and like put it in Blender and made something real quick. Because I was like, I gotta make a
Mm.
custom animation.
The
But
fact that you made it that quickly, though, was kind of impressive.
I
Because,
want
like,
to
it felt like a movie. I was like, holy shit.
thank you. Well, like all of the reels, if you look back on my Instagram, all those reels from like 2020 or in 2019, probably 2020 mostly, but like I made all those like in a day. I would start like after I ate dinner, I would like come up with an idea and then I would like either go to my studio or do it at my house and just like piece a costume together, piece an idea together, and then edit it until I fell asleep and then post it and then go to sleep. And I miss doing that, but it was always so much work and I couldn't justify doing it because like just the disposable nature of social media made it so discouraging to just like put so much work into stuff that I would just toss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
So, but I miss it. Like I miss doing that a lot, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better at filmmaking and editing since then. So now doing them as like promos every Wednesday, it's like great. There's a time and place. So like every Tuesday night, I'm gonna like try to film another one. So if next week you want to get together and film some stuff on Tuesday night, we can.
I'm fucking down.
I have that pig mask. It's pretty much ready. I just need to get a hat.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'm down. I'll be there. I can be there next Tuesday if you like.
Yeah, I mean
Or this Tuesday?
it'll be no.
What day of the week is it? Oh, it's Wednesday.
This Tuesday already passed.
Fuck.
You're bad with days of the week.
Sometimes.
It's because
What
in
I-
D&D time moves so slow. You forget in the real world time doesn't. You're not in the same day for 6 months like you
Yeah,
are in
y'all have
D&D.
literally only known each other for like a week.
And yet we've already grown. We've already have so much camaraderie for people who just met.
It's true. It's like a summer camp, but with trauma. Oh wait,
It's just summer camp.
it's just summer camp. Oh my god, I've almost got it figured out. Oh,
You still working on your stream?
almost. So the bitrate was too high because as soon as I got in some action, everything started getting laggy. I lowered it to 3,200, fixed it, and then the audio was kind of but then I fixed it. So I should be able to stream soon. Hopefully. But yes, I'm so close. It's like little tiny tweaks here and there. For every day I mess with this thing, I learn more, and I'm legitimately like getting ready. It's
Dude,
awesome.
maybe on next Tuesday when we're shooting stuff, but I really want to install Blender on that computer and try to teach you how to start making 3D models and shit.
Dude,
I think once you figure out OBS is kind of like once you figure it out, you figure it out. It's not something you need to like get deep on. It's just kind of like you get it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I really want to see what you would do with Blender because Blender is literally video editor, 2D animator, 3D animator, simulations. If you want to really go deep,
Oh,
you can make a video game in it. So I really want to see. I want to
oh,
show you. I want to give you the keys to how I can like snap my fingers and make 3D renders like that. And I want to see what you come up with and show you
oh,
where I get all my 3D models from.
dude, please,
It's fucking
please.
from the like PS3, and there's even like PSP 3D models on there. There's weird janky 3DS models.
Oh my god, the things I could do with that shit.
It's so much fun. There's so much fantasy free, like D&D free, like maps, and like people will just post like 3D models of terrains. It's pretty cool.
The things I would do, bro. Oh my god,
Uh,
bro, I'm excited. Yeah, because like I'm learning that OBS isn't that hard to learn. So
yeah,
it's like,
once you get it, you get it. It almost kind of feels like it's part of Windows.
yeah, I which honestly credit to the development team for that thing because holy shit, like it is.
Intuitive.
It's like yeah, it's like why isn't this installed in every computer?
Yeah, it's like Microsoft Paint, but for video.
Yeah. Hmm.
Sorry,
But
I'm
it's
just trying
fun.
to. Sorry to the stream and sorry to you, but I'm just trying to put a story out there so people know we are live.
I'm turning on your stream on my secondary screen right now.
Secondary screen.
Secondary screen.
Secondary screen. I'm excited. I just got out of a literal writer's room and now I'm doing my what would I call this?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Writer's room, my digital simulated public masturbatorial.
Masturbatorial. How to?
Dude, why don't they make a masturbatorium for the distinguished gentleman?
Masturbatorial.
To the masturbatorium, sir. And then you don't actually jack off in there. You just go in there and like talk to yourself about your own problems. It's like therapy, but it's just a mirror. Is that too meta?
It's just the goon cave.
Goon. No, the goon cave is where most people nowadays live.
Oh god.
The goon cave is just the existence of the modern man. So I want to hit you now that we're settling in here. Are you excited to hear these pitches from
The
last week?
goon.
No, not about gooning.
I am.
No. I'm gonna spray you with that thing you spray Cass with. Can you believe everybody's already sick of Marvel Rivals?
Dude, Marvel Rivals is like
It died faster than Overwatch. They're not gonna make it to season 2. I mean, they are. They did, but you know what I mean. Like they're already. No one's talking about it anymore. Where did they go wrong?
I don't know what happened. It's like they were doing like so good and then they made content. They even gave us like really sexy Emma Frost and then it's like I don't
Yeah,
know what happened to everybody.
it is kind of a meh though, right? Because Emma Frost, yeah, like don't get me wrong, but like she's no one's favorite. Same with who's it called it? Fantastic Four. Like I love the Fantastic Four, but that's really rough season 1 launch because are they everyone's most favorite Marvel character right now? Not really. Their movie's not out yet. People aren't that hyped on the Fantastic Four. Like they could have picked a better launch
Not really.
season 1. I'm trying to just off the top of my head, like you could have had Cyclops. That probably would have been bigger. Um, Jean, any of the X-Men probably would have been bigger. Or I don't know. Maybe it was doomed to fail because like there's only so much people want to play Marvel characters until they're bored and just want to go watch the movie or stop playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad.
All I know is everybody didn't like it when they revealed the Silver Surfer as being a girl.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I don't know why I don't like it, and it's not because she's a girl.
It's because the Silver Surfer as a character, as a hermit,
Mhm.
And it's hard to believe that a attractive female would be a hermit. Even if she wanted to be, you would feel like people would be attracted to her. So she doesn't
Mm.
fit the silhouette or the profile of a lone wanderer. She fits the silhouette or the profile of a beauty, a goddess. You know what I mean? Like the silhouette they have of
Mm.
her in that trailer isn't a wanderer. It's like a silver goddess, which is cool, but it's not Silver Surfer. So,
Mm. That makes sense. That makes sense.
do you know what I mean?
We're
Like,
doing a little.
they're
I'm
doing it
trying to
right.
make a little post on Instagram for the stream so we can get people in here, please.
Ooh.
It's not. It's literally just gonna be me just filming the screen, zooming in and out. Let me see.
I
Beep.
love I love playing atmospheric noise when I talk about stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. Fucking music. Hold on. Let me see.
Watch me do it.
I gotta get into the habit of posting stuff before we stream as well, so we can get people in here more.
I literally just got into the habit of it, and it's my show, so don't beat yourself up about it. It's just,
bro, bro said, I don't even do that shit.
I try, but I'm still trying. Okay, I'm not. Don't beat yourself up. It's a hard habit to get into used to because it feels douchey, but you gotta do it.
Yeah. It's like, so promotional.
It feels very
It's
much like
like,
it's the millennial version of like handing out flyers to your show or like, hey sir, can I interest you in a car? Like it's knocking on a door. It's the millennial version of like, can I interest you in some entertainment, please? Please. Please, God. Please, for fuck's sake. I'm dying, please. Any hoozle.
hey, so fuck.
How you feeling? How was your day?
Me?
Yeah. Le
Oh
Junior.
man. My day was filled with, other than the usual turmoil, sadness, and ever encroaching feeling of death and despair, pretty good. I made some money and I came home and I fixed the computer.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a very D&D way to describe it, but I
At
appreciate
this
it.
point, D&D has permeated my life to the point that I don't exactly mind.
That would
But
be
it's
a
like it's not an obsession.
we
It's more
sh-
just like it's just who I am.
we should do not a sketch but like a game where
Mhm.
you have to do a normal day, but all of your
Mhm.
interactions are going to be like set up with like me or Monse or Isaac or whoever, but you have to
Mhm.
roll. So it's all like D&D rules, but you're doing real stuff. So like you want to eat and you're gonna roll, and if you roll a
Yeah,
one, we're gonna put some ketchup on a piece of paper, and you have that's your lunch. But if you roll a 20,
bro.
Muncie will make a steak or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I
So
had the
like
same idea like years ago. We got to do that
we
shit.
should do it.
Oh my god, it's like, oh, I want to go flirt with this chick. Roll D20
No, but we should do things that are like
persuasion,
you actually
charisma.
would want. Like we should do food when you're hungry, or like we could even
Yeah,
flip it with me where it's like I'm at QT and I have to roll to get Diet Pepsi, and if I roll a one, I have to get like the shittiest soda, and if I roll a critical 20, I get to get like I'll fill my thing with Pepsi and go buy like 2 liters of Pepsi.
bro, just
I get
wins the
all the Diet
store.
Pepsi. Yeah, I get anything I want basically.
You basically get a free item
Yeah.
at that point.
So we could do
Bro,
things like
that's
that where
such a
it's like,
good fucking
because then
idea. I
I
like
want
that.
the genuine feeling of us being like, fuck, oh damn it, like I really want this thing. I want there to be real life consequences for like dice rolls. That would be fun.
Oh, I gotta go to the restroom. How would that work? Imagine.
Or like imagine playing basketball but with like dice rolls. So it's like, okay, we're gonna do 1-on-1. Let's roll for uh not initiate. What is it? Initiative. So like literally,
Mhm.
whoever rolls the highest gets to shoot first, and we all have to stand still. And then on your turn, you can move 5 paces in any direction, and then you have to stand still, and then choose: are you gonna block? Are you gonna try and steal? Like everything is dice roll
Yeah.
based. It's like basketball but turn based.
Oh
Would
my
be
god.
so turn based basketball. Dude, that would be sick.
I love it.
We put a
Michael
camera on the
Jordan.
hoop, and you just see, or like we get a drone in the air or something, and you just see us from like the top down, doing these like deet deet deet.
That would be dope.
And there's like a
That would
ref
be
being like,
fucking
"No,
dope.
you did 6 paces. You're out of your cube." Out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
Like I roll to
Oh my
travel, but
god.
the ref doesn't notice. It's like, all right, roll a deception check.
Can you imagine how confused like now let's say like you're walking to your car late at night and then like there's just a random mugger and he just gets pulled into this random RPG
He's like, all
system.
right, roll. I rolled a 1.
He's like,
Okay, I kick your ass and you shit your pants.
it's like,
And
what?
you give me your gun and your money.
You give me
actually.
the gun now?
He's like, fuck, man. All right, here you go. He starts giving you all of his stuff. He's like, damn it. Okay, but no, hold on. I do a counter. No, you rolled a 1, dude. It's a crit failure. There's
over,
no.
bro.
Sorry, man.
You're just dying.
Imagine a sketch of the guy who brings loaded dice to D&D. So he's just like always rolling 20s, and they're like, "Did you bring fake dice?" He's like, "No." Dude, what the fuck? This is like a game. Of course I didn't bring fake dice. 20. Okay, roll. If you roll it, roll to see if you kill yourself. 20. Damn it.
Every other roll is a 1 or it's a 20 because it's just offset at that point.
Shit. No, he likes trying. He's like shaking the table to try and make it land on something else. Fuck.
It's like, no, guys, I promise. He's just like,
Or like the guy who
like
shows up to D&D trying to bet, like, all right, $20, he doesn't get this hit. I got 20.
Oh my god.
I got $20 that we don't kill this fucking bullywog.
Dude, I haven't ran into that person yet in D&D, and I'm kind of waiting for it.
Dude, I'll start if you want me to.
No, please. Not you.
All right, 30 bucks, you're failing this perception check. Here we go.
$30 you fail this shit. Like, he's like, huh? Yeah, $30 right now on the table. Bam.
I'm like, yeah, and he's like, a roll with advantage. Fuck! Shit!
It's like, what? Well, he gets roll with advantage. He's like, damn it.
Damn it!
Bro, that would be freaking funny. Oh my god. That's a good ass idea for a sketch. Holy shit.
Also, we should just do Pokemon with dice.
I thought Pokemon, at least on its system, ran on some kind of random table.
All RPGs are basically dice rolls, right? Like that's basically a random number.
I believe so. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm guessing rolling with advantage is super effective. They just like they just do it twice.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Hello, third viewer, whoever you are. Welcome.
Hello, third viewer.
Comment. Don't be spam.
We have seen you.
If you're spam, I swear.
If you're a bot, you shall be destroyed.
My stream crashes. It's like, bitch.
It's like, no.
Oh shit. Boop. It was Johnny Depp in that one movie where he becomes Computer Jesus.
Oh my god. What's that movie called?
Computer Jesus. No, it's like Transcendence.
Damn. Computer Jesus featuring Johnny Depp.
Do you remember when movies weren't allowed to be more than one word? It's like Divergent, Transcendence, Salt.
It always had to be one word.
Yeah, I don't know why it was like, everything was one word back then. It was like video games were one word. Everything was like, yeah, you gotta be one word. That's the new thing.
I feel like it was because like
and it was
more. It was easier for stuff to like. It was easier for it to stick in people's minds, I guess.
It works until it was overused, right?
Yeah, like if at some point it's like,
because like Saw, that was a great title for a movie.
Yeah, Saw 2, okay. Saw 3.
Oh, at that point,
okay,
you're just banking off of the fact that Saw is a good name for a movie, and you're just like, yeah, this is the sequel to the good one.
It's like, okay, buddy.
But
You're
honestly,
pushing the
if you're
limiter.
watching Saw 4, like, you don't care. You're just whatever. You'll watch whatever.
That's
You
true.
have no standards.
There's no standards at that point. The bar is set so low that, in fact, like
I was I
there's no.
was I was hanging out with a friend of mine one time, and she was like, "Yeah, let's watch Saw 4 because I just watched Saw 3," and it's like, who the fuck? How do you care what order you watch these in? Like, there's no fucking through line here. What? I fell asleep and spilled beer on myself.
Really?
Yeah. You ever do that move where you're holding a beer and you fall asleep and it just spills all over you? You ever done
I
that?
mean,
Like
I
imagine
haven't.
you're sitting in a couch, you're holding a drink, right? And then you fall
Uh,
asleep, so you're like, and then it tips and pours all over you.
ugh. Well, I've done that with water. I've like had dreams where I drowned, and I was like, I woke up.
You have dreams where you. I hate dreams where you have peril.
I I don't dream often, but when I do, dear God, it's either the end of the world or it's something really cool for some reason.
I don't dream often, but when I dream of Dos
I dream.
Equis. Of
I
Dos
dream
Equis.
those things. I dream of getting drunk. No, this one.
Alright.
My beer's calling my name in the fridge. Oh my God.
I don't have any beer here.
Perhaps. It's calling my name. I'm like, perhaps. Perhaps.
Dude, Monday Night Raw was one of the best episodes of wrestling I've seen in so long.
Was that what, like, I heard something about that. Was that when John Cena came back?
Dee, 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 dee. Well, he came back. He had done comeback. Wow, 2 people joined when I mentioned John Cena. So
Hello, people.
they can see me. Dee, 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 dee.
Do.
Dee, 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 dee. No, so John Cena's been back for a little while. He's doing
Uh-huh.
like his farewell tour,
Mhm.
and basically he came out at the beginning of Raw last night and was like, "You guys are all dipshit losers." Not really, but like the premise was like, "You guys suck and you don't deserve whatever." Wrestling promo
You don't
stuff,
deserve me.
basically. And then right when he's like, "Get a good look at this," and he's gonna about to like, whip out his title
Mhm.
belt dick, Randy Orton
Mhm.
gave him an RKO.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And so now they're gonna have a feuder, I guess. A feuder.
A feuder?
And that was just the beginning. The rest of it was like a couple other cool matches. But the big thing was at the end, they revealed that uh, Braun Breaker is aligning with Seth Rollins. So, pretty big
Ooh,
deal. He's Scott
that's a pretty
Steiner's
big deal.
son.
Oh shit.
He like speared the shit out of Roman Reigns and CM Punk. It was fucking awesome.
Damn.
I was really watching it like, yes, this is why we like wrestling. This is why
This is what
wrestling.
I'm here for.
This is why we wrestling. This is
This is
why
why
we
we
like
wrestling.
this stupid bullshit. Because when it's good, it's really fucking good. And when it's bad, most of the time, it's really funny.
Well,
It's really funny. It's pretty funny.
it's really funny. Yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
I was all hyped up on it. I literally was like, oh, let me just see what happened. And then I ended up watching the whole episode like, yeah, let's go. Wrestling.
Oh shit. Wrestling.
I love it.
Wrestle.
WrestleMania actually sucked. I didn't even watch it. I just skipped through it. Because like I usually do, I just like open it after it's over and clip through to see if anything fun happened. But with Raw yesterday, I was hooked. I was hooked on the Monday Night Raw. All right.
Bro.
Dee-dee-dee-dee,
Wait.
dee-dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee. 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 Okay. Which one do you want to hear about? Should I just go in the same order?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know where to put this. I'll put this here. Okay. So for Red Wire, The one you were saying looked
Hmm.
like Texas Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Um, that one, the idea I was thinking of is like sort of like almost a nature documentary or like Into the Wild or like one of those really somber movies about people being in nature.
Hmm.
But it's about this guy who has this like backpack full of parts and retro tech that he's assembled into this machine. And the
Hmm.
machine like cooks food. It's like a microwave and it's also a fridge and like a battery and a computer and a DVD. Like it's everything he can build into it, right? And the things he builds into it just like accumulate on his back and he walks around with it on his back like a hermit crab almost.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like Wall-E where he's picking through like piles of e-waste and, you know, nuclear bombed out desolate areas. Like clearly the world has any world that we would recognize has ended and it's just like, you know, desolate wastelands of human garbage. And he's like
Mm.
assimilating this, and there's other people who live in the world but they live like it's almost like Fallout where it's just like raiders, you know what I mean? um
Yeah.
and when he's out doing his like thing collecting stuff, he runs into a raider who attacks him. And during
Mm.
the fight, because a lot of the raiders wear masks and helmets because the air is toxic, he doesn't because he doesn't give a shit. And little
Oh
do
wow.
little do they know that like he's right. You don't need to wear a mask, but because there's been so much radiation for like so long, people just wear a mask because they think they have to. But
Mm.
actually, the radiation that's happening is uh, it makes you sick a little bit for a while, but then eventually you'll just adapt to it.
Oh,
And
so it's kind of like you just build a tolerance.
yeah, like the human,
Mm.
especially if you're born in it, you know what I mean? Like he was probably like, the main character is probably like 15 when the world ended, right?
Mm.
And some of the characters weren't even alive when the world ended. But they grew up in these
Oh.
societies of like raiders and tribal, like everything's just tribal, like whoever's left, right? There's not a lot of people left. And the
Yeah.
youngest people alive are like people that were babies when the world ended. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of reproducing going on. No one's having a baby. You know what I mean? So it's basically like the last people alive on Earth waiting to die. And he meets this woman.
Interesting.
Well,
Hmm.
like, oh, they during fighting with the raider, the mask falls off. Her mask falls off, and he sees it's a woman, and he hasn't seen a woman since he was like 16, and he's like probably 35, right? So it's like jarring, and
Hmm.
he stops like struggling with her and just sort of like lets her go because he was gonna kill her, but he lets her go, and he sort of like
Hmm.
tracks her movements very carefully and tracks her back to like a tribe or an enclave of like really beat up people, like people that were older than the two of them, but like had seen a lot of shit, whether it was the war, whether it was raiders, whether it was disease. Like, just imagine people that have like barely hanging on, right? And she's taking care of them. And
Mm.
he gets there and sees a lot of the shit that they have could be used to take care of these people, but it's broken. And so without talking to her, he just starts fixing things. And she
Hmm.
wants to attack him because he followed her, and she assumes he's going to go kill everyone and eat their flesh because that's a lot of the people here are cannibals. A lot of the other humans are cannibals. But he starts fixing things and he starts like making it so that the older people can listen to an old CD that plays music that comforts them, and he like turns on a heater and like wires it to a self charging battery that runs off of the heat being, you know what I mean, like he rigs together
Hmm.
like a system for them to actually have like heat and water and like be able to boil water to drink. And all the older people that are there are like really really thankful, and they prevent it stops the woman in her tracks from attacking him because she's like, okay, you have utility and you've done something for me, so now I owe you at the very least your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he, as they're like the first night together, they're getting raided. Maybe it's not their first night. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a few nights later. It's like, how can you tell, right? It's a nuclear winter.
Yeah.
So a time later, they're attacked. Like they've ingratiated themselves. They haven't talked, but like she's fine with him being there. That's like as far as they've gotten. And they're attacked by raiders, like 4 or 5 cannibal raiders who are coming to like just see if they can steal and kill and get anything they can, right? Like Fallout style.
Mm. Yeah.
And he prevents her from just attacking them head on. He's like, don't do that. And he takes his machine that he has on his back and he sets it down, and he like turns
Mm-hmm.
certain switches and certain things, and he just leaves it there for them to take, and he makes it seem like it's a peace offering. Like he's like, I'm leaving it here, just come and take it. And
Mm-hmm.
because they're idiots, the 2 raiders come and they come to pick it up, and right as they're going to pick it up because it's so heavy, on either side 2 spikes shoot out and stab them both in the head, killing them. You know,
Oh.
like out the sides, like choomsh. You know what I mean? Like boom.
Yeah.
In a way that only he would know it did that, and he's the only one who can lift it the other way. So that's the security measure for it, is like, if 2 people pick this thing up, it'll stab you in the head. You know what I mean?
Oh shit. Yeah.
So it's kind of like how Blade's sword would cut your hand off if you tried to hold it. It's that kind of thing. Like it'll literally like kill you if you try to carry this any other way than the way he carries it. And he's the only one who can carry it that way because it's fucking enormous and heavy. So those 2 raiders
Mm-hmm.
die, and then the other 2 like take off, and the the female wants to like chase them, and he stops her, and
Mm-hmm.
he loots the dead raiders for all of the shit that they have, and they get a lot of really interesting things that help the people there.
Mm-hmm.
And before the like day comes, they the guy takes the 2 bodies and he like ties them to
Mm-hmm.
pillars and like sets them on fire, and then he starts
Oh.
trailing the ones who left, and like he's going out to kill the rest of them because he knows he can't just like let them go tell them where these people are. So he's like, I'll just go do it, I'll just take care of it because like it's my fault that I let them go. And so he starts off on a trail to go do that. Meanwhile, the other 2 raiders get back to their camp, and they all like lose their shit because they lost 2 of them. And there's like the 2 mascots, right? Like the 2 ones that made everyone laugh, so everyone's pissed. And so they like squad
Mm-hmm.
up. They start getting all their fucking shit ready, like all their gear, and he like makes his way to go storm the like camp. And then
Uh-huh.
basically that's where I've gotten so far, but I imagine it would end with like a really awesome finale where it's just like a grimy, almost like a Metal Gear mission where I have this giant machine on my back that can do different interesting things, and I'm using that to solve problems, but I can only really move slowly and methodically. So it's like
Mm.
stealthy and slow and pacing. And then the female followed me there, so she's providing cover because she's like an archer or some kind of ranged attack. I'm thinking archer, but it could be something even more like interesting and innovative, like a spear gun or who knows what, like a homemade something. You know what I mean? Like maybe an
Ooh.
air, like a like imagine if you rigged up like a lawn. No, it'd have to be quiet, like a low powered
And
USB fan to like a pipe, and you had like little blow darts. So you had like an electric blow dart
yeah.
gun or like anything like that where it's just like a quiet ranged attack. And she starts providing cover as he like makes his way through this camp, killing all of the people until finally like he survives the fight, but the machine doesn't. So he sacrifices the
Mm.
machine in order to like save the tribe, and he ends up, instead of building a new machine that he carries on his back, building a new infrastructure, like an actual building around the people. And so like they
Mm.
actually, so it would be cool to end the movie with like the female giving birth and everyone like the signs of like an actual newborn person. So like an actual like, because he's also going to teach them like you don't need to wear the masks, like you can drink the water, like your body will adapt to the radiation. So it's like the whole story is like
Mm.
this reclaiming of nature over all of the
Yeah,
decay.
like yeah, because like it would be like kind of like a nature prevails kind of ending in a way, or
Almost.
simply put, life goes
Yeah, like
on.
nature. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
No, I was talking about this this movie idea, or like one of the pitches I have for my first feature that I want to make later in the year.
Would there be some kind of like undertone of like how do you say like mutation with like the people and how their bodies have adapted to like their environment in some way?
Mm, yeah, I would say what I think they would kind of have gone feral, right? Like imagine 20 or
Mm-hmm.
30 years of people living in a nuclear holocaust. Like they're going to become more sinewy and like almost like human, not roaches, but you know what I mean? Like imagine mammals that could survive that. Because that's kind of what I want it to be. Like, you
Mm.
know, those time lapses they show of a flower growing out of dirt? Have you
Yeah.
seen those? Like, imagine a time, like, not a time lapse, but imagine, like, the idea that humans are as resilient as, like, nature itself. So even though we might destroy ourselves completely, as long as there's, like, a few seeds of humans still left that have, like, the will to do it and don't succumb to, like, selfishness, and if they have any amount of compassion and they can learn to create communities and families, then they can
Mm-hmm.
grow a new humanity so that like no matter what humans, as long as they have compassion and love, they can keep on going even in the most bleak of situations. And someone who looks and feels as mechanical as a machine can grow out of that through the power of like human connection, basically.
Mm. I guess that makes sense because like when you break down society into its base instincts, genuine human connection is pretty much the only way to go. When
And
there's not like,
it's a kind of like, it might be too heady to say this, but like, you know that feeling you get when you just like on the internet by yourself for too long and you're just
mm-hmm,
absorbing all this information, and then the second you talk to like any kind of real human and you hear their actual voice, you're like, oh yeah, right, people are that fucking like toxic and creepy and cringe and plastic and fake. Like there's human connections that can be made, and that feels so much better than like just laughing at a baby farting or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's something like very tangibly good that comes up when you feel connected to other humans that the internet sort of like
uh,
doesn't keep you from having, but it definitely makes it easy to avoid. You know what I mean? Like you can really get trapped in
yeah,
just like fucking around by yourself doing something stupid for a really long time and not realize that you're not connecting with other people. I mean, it's a metaphor for how I lived too before I met Monse. Like I would describe myself as someone who lived in my computer. Like all of my work, all of my being went into like making shit, making props, creating renders, and I wouldn't talk to fucking anybody. And granted, it was COVID, but
mm,
still, like I was just total hermit in my existence. And with her, like I've changed so much and grown so much. So it's like an analogy for that metamorphosis that I think a lot of men go through when they're younger, like being super isolated, being super like in this island world where the only people you interact with sometimes are online. And then all of a sudden, like once you have real connections in life, all of a sudden you start making real friends and going out there and you start
mm.
being a real three-dimensional person. So, and
No, that
then
makes
also
sense. Yeah.
I always had this like vision of like long stretching shots of a guy with a giant computer on his back that's doing all of these mechanical things and like all of these things happening in his back as he like has these
Mhm.
solemn walks through this like desolate wasteland. I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. I want to shoot that. I want to see it. So then, yeah, that's where all of this shit just started steamrolling. And then, like, the end of last year, I finally did it and bought a big ass computer from Goodwill and taped it to backpack straps and see if I could wear it. And I did.
Oh shit.
So So once I did that, I was like, the idea in my head just kept growing and growing and growing. So that one's been like a, and like the idea of the name Red Wire is like, they're almost like tribal people. So their names are really simple, but they identify with the things that they're good at. So the reason they call him Red Wire is because he connects the red wires and makes them work. You know what I mean? Like they have a very simple
Yeah.
understanding of how the world works, right? Like this guy's red wire because he makes things with red wires work because he knows how to mend them, because he knows how to manipulate them. But really all he's doing is soldering, or really all he's doing is connecting AV ports, right? We know what it is,
Mm,
but they're so
that's true.
removed from that world. They're like they don't remember what a fucking aux cable does, or if they do, they don't know how to fix one that's broken. You know what I mean? So so that movie is
Yeah.
would be more of a like sci-fi, right? Like you would consider that just a straight up sci-fi.
Wait, so are these are these projects you that you're like actively writing, or are these ideas that you want to act on to like write a feature?
So I want to write a feature, but instead of just like bouncing the ideas around in my own head until I go insane, I want to like just kind of get them out all out on the table and get people's input. So these are they're like pitches that I want to write. Like I haven't written anything yet, just outlines and like elevator pitches, and now I'm just sort of fleshing out the ideas to see like is there something here, would is this feasible to shoot, could I with my resources pull this off. So yeah, it's just sort of like an idea brainstorm, no
Hmm.
rules.
So then, what would the log line be for that?
For that one,
Hmm. Like if you were gonna, think of a log line for this idea, how would you describe the
I
story in like
initially I said
one?
it was like Death Stranding meets Into the Wild, but the more I described it, I think it would be more like real, like if Wally was a human, if Wally
Well, so that
became
would
human.
that would be your
Yeah, the log line
that
would,
would be your cross,
yeah.
like your crossover. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's a log line, like if I scroll on Netflix and I see this movie, what's gonna be the log line for the movie?
Mm-hmm. Probably like desolate wander finds new life after meeting with. I don't know. I haven't written a log line before, so I'd have to practice. But it would probably be like just about like a
So you said
desolate wander.
a desolate wanderer meets you said
Uh,
what? Meets.
Meets like a vulnerable tribe and finds community and overcoming lethal obstacles or fatal obstacles
So
or
what
fatal
was the
enemies.
two movies that you said that was like a cross of what?
It would be a cross of like Wally and then probably Dances with Wolves. So it'd be very much like a tribal, almost like Native American, but not. You know what I mean?
Okay, so like for instance, like the log line for Wally here, a robot who is responsible for cleaning a waste-covered Earth meets another robot and falls in love with her. Together, they set out on a journey that will alter the fate of mankind.
Yeah. So okay, let me think. Okay, so mine would probably be a desolate wanderer comes into contact with uh, a female. Probably a desolate wanderer comes into contact with a female survivor, building a bond and saving a vulnerable tribe and starting humanity anew. I wouldn't want to give it away, so I don't know how you would write it without giving it away, but protect humanity's last hope. I'd have to practice. I'm not good at these.
Yeah, no. I mean, but that's good. Like this is how you like
Yeah,
workshop it, right?
let me see.
Um, I mean, this is just like good practice because I mean, I can think of like I mean, especially like as a writer, like I'm writing so many things right now. Like, but, 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 like you know, sometimes when I'm talking about the ideas, it's like, especially like as like the writer, sometimes you feel the need to like when you're talking with other people to kind of having to like explain all these details to kind of get the whole idea. But you know, it's good practice to like, especially if we want to do like stuff in film, because I know like that's what I want to do, is to just, you know, craft these like 1 to 2 sentence like description lines of just like those projects, because that's something that I haven't really done for like my shorts. But um yeah, no, I mean that was good, Ray. I thought that was like a pretty good working log line that you created.
Yeah, I'm writing one out right now on the side, just because like I feel like once I'll see it, I'll know how to like, almost like a poem. Like you'd be like, okay, move this word.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm gonna start working on those. The log line for chemical warfare should be pretty easy, because that's just a slasher.
Like I'm gonna see like there's a short story that I'm working on right now that's based on an idea that I have for a feature, but like and I've never made a log line for that one, but maybe it would be something like hmm um like a man uh you know, longing for connection matches with a potential love interest, um, only to discover that their shared experience of a past memory is rooted within a very traumatic accident.
I see. Yeah, I could. Yeah, so I could get the exactly what this story's about.
I posted something in the writers' room chat. I wrote it out a little bit. I don't know if that helps.
Oh, but
Oh, that is good. I'll read it. A secluded wanderer of a barren world meets a female survivor, creating bonds with the tribe accustomed to seclusion. Together they find out if humanity can rekindle their true connection. Dude, that's so good. God damn.
E.
Mine suck.
I write D&D.
I know. That's so good for that. That translates perfectly for that skill is like perfect for D&D because it's just like so you walk into a room or like who is this guy? Well, let me tell you about his life.
Let me tell you about this guy. You know,
Let me tell you about this gay jailkeeper.
I'm not saying that D&D is like everything, but I am saying that it's very good, like as a DM, to like it really like draws out those kind of writing prompts that you need because like when you're in the middle of a game, right, and like you have so many people at the table who are throwing you different like random like plots or to the story, right? You have to be there and have to be ready not only in your head but also be ready to write down notes. So I just kind of thought about it like that. It's like, oh, well,
Dude, can you
that's not too
believe this
different.
guy was saying he wasn't smart? Can you believe
I'm
that shit?
not. I know words.
I hate that. I know people who aren't smart. You're not one of them. Believe me. I know a lot of people who aren't smart.
Look, I'm not smart in different ways, right?
No, I know, but like to be able to articulate yourself like that, like you have to be really competent and really good with words in English. So I
yeah,
hate when
but
you sell
he
yourself
didn't. He
short.
wouldn't have had something to write if you hadn't, you know, given like the
Exactly.
rough.
No,
You
I
know what I
know.
mean? So
It
that
just, it
that came
just,
from you.
I know. I just drives me
Yeah.
crazy because every time I ask him to like collaborate with me, he's always like, I don't know, I'm not. It's like, dude, you're so good. Shut up. Stop that.
Well, no, because like you gave me such a good idea to work off of, so it's like that came from your head, bro. So like yeah, I can refine it to that way, but it's like I'm not the one that came up with the movie idea, like you did.
I
So
know,
that's
but
really fucking cool.
they're all important. That's all important, man. So
Yeah,
important.
and it's interesting because like I feel like I gave a very like rough like pitch
You
log
did.
line for the diner, and you said, "Oh, I think that's like I have like a good sense of like what it is," but I
Mm-hmm.
also feel like my log line is sort of how would you say um gives like the viewer or like the audience like if you read it almost like a false
Mm-hmm.
hood
Mm-hmm.
of like the story because it's
It's
such a weird concept because I read a lot in like speculative or like sci-fi like horror and so this is an idea that I had where the story would be sort of portrayed as like a potential like sci-fi like romance, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the story would start to unravel to where it becomes like a very surreal horror for like
Yeah.
you know um the characters because um essentially Jeffrey uses this dating app to match with this woman, but the way the dating app would work in the story, it called Remoria, where you select specific locations, um, through the dating app that are significant to you, but the dating app will match you with people who share the same significant locations that you have on your profile.
ooh.
Mm.
But it doesn't allow you to message them, only just to set a date and time to meet at that said location that you share.
Mm.
Um, and so
Oh.
when they go and she meets him, they start to like hit it off and develop this relationship with each other over time and start to get to know one another. But through Jeffrey's perspective, it's almost as if like there's certain things in his life that he sees or experiences that sort of almost like take him out of like his reality, but he
Ah.
doesn't really know how to like get help or describe what's happening to him or like what he's experiencing really. But as the story progresses, he starts to understand that the reality that he knows is like crumbling and that the woman that he matched with is actually a part of a group of agents that created this augmented reality to get him to open a gate to another dimension.
Mm.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So it's a little bit more complex. So I feel like having that log line is
Yeah.
like such a deceiving sort of like way to like get people to watch like or to engage with the story.
Well, no, that's good though.
That's
That's
cool
good
though, because
though.
because they won't see it coming. It sets the expectations one
Yeah.
way, so when the left turn happens, they're really hit in the face with it because they
Hmm.
think it's gonna be about one thing, but it's actually about something else.
Yeah. Well, look. I'll put it to you like this, right? Okay. I'll say that I'm smart on certain things, right? But I can put it to you like this. I didn't even know what a log line was until right now.
That's fine.
That's okay.
So
It's a
it's like,
hyper specific like industry thing. It's not something people just know.
well, yeah, but like, I don't know, man. So it's like you give me the idea.
I don't know how to play
Matt kind of.
guitar, but I know what it looks
Well,
like. It's the same thing.
so okay, like, cause like you gave me the ammo, Ray gave me the gun. Or, no, you gave me the ammo. Matt gave me the gun. I found out how to aim it.
And together we saved America.
We saved America.
Ray's like, I don't know what a log line is, but I know what a log line is, so
It's like,
Exactly.
I guess this is a.
I know what
I
it
guess
is.
it's
I
a
can't write
bullet.
one.
no.
I know where it's supposed to
Matt's
go.
like, Matt's like, look, this is what it is, and I'm like, oh, bet. I'm
There's
like,
so much of movie making is that it's happened to me a million times where I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like it's this. Oh, yeah, no, I can do that.
I literally the only thing that popped up in my head is literally like when he used to go to like those like Blockbuster back in the day and used to read the back of the DVD box.
Mm.
It's like, oh, that gives you like a brief kind of
Like rundown of like
what the movie is. And it's
right,
like,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. It's so that would be the description, right?
Ah,
So the log line is like your like kind of like two like 1 2 sentence like pitch,
yeah,
you know?
now that's a lot of pressure.
You
Imagine
know,
Yeah,
being
so
in
it's
like
like
some
you
room.
have an idea of like this whole story
Mm,
and it's like describe to me what that story would be in one line. You
you
know
gotta
what I mean?
condense it into one story or
Yeah,
one
because
line.
you know,
Oh,
if you think about like I mean, yeah, dude, like look up like here, let me see. I'm gonna look up fucking Terminator.
oh
Like,
shit.
dude, look at the fucking Terminator's log line. Aside, so if you're like in the room and you're pitching it,
Mhm.
a cyborg assassin from the future attempts to find and kill a young woman who is destined to give birth to a warrior that will lead a resistance to save humankind from extinction. Like
Bro.
that's a crazy like if you were in the room
Hmm.
like and like you would hear that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like no wonder they were like, okay.
Yeah,
Like
now.
and
yeah.
the robot is a giant Austrian man. You got me. Sold.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're like, yes, bro.
And he's gonna be naked. Yes,
Yeah.
He's gonna be naked.
you'll see his butt. We're in.
um but yeah, I mean, you know, I developed the idea for the diner
Hmm.
back in 2020, like when I came back to San Antonio, and
Nice.
barely now. It was like an idea that I had from a nightmare, and that I kind of
Mm.
wrote like a rough of it, and then I like put it away. And as I
Mm.
started continuing to work on like you know some other bigger projects, I started to kind of think of like how that idea could kind of fit within this overarching like world that I'm like essentially creating with just like my stories. But you know, 2020 to now, you know, I'm back in school and the diner I decided to write for my last short story for one of my classes. So I pretty much created a short that is almost like a contained version of that story.
Yeah, now.
um Yeah, I mean, Ray, when you come up with these ideas, like, do you imagine? I know, like, you kind of see like the movie in your head, right? But like,
Mhm.
do you ever imagine like just like maybe trying to write it like one way and then like translating it to like script, or do you just want to go straight to like script?
I've written. I sometimes I'll have ideas and they'll be for a movie and then I'll like deconstruct it into a comic or I'll think about it, recontextualize it into a comic book or like just like a literal short story where I just write out everything that happens or like I'll just tell it to my fiance like beat for beat what happens in the story.
Mm, mm,
But I'm
mm.
really trying to like
Mm-hmm.
get get myself to finish a script, like a full script, not just like a few pages or the first 10 or 20, like really even if it's bad and needs a lot of reworks, like I feel like just getting myself over the hump of finishing one because I'm so bad at finishing things. So that's kind of
I
why
hear that.
I'm like trying to get people's ideas on these things because before I start writing, I want to hear what people actually have to say about these different pitches and styles because I have so many in my head. I want a little bit of direction. Otherwise, I'll just get like overwhelmed with choice. But I'm
Okay,
actually
so
writing my log line for the next one as we talk, so I'm excited to share that one with you.
so we got your first log line. So this is for what, Redwire?
Yeah.
A secluded wanderer of a barren world meets a female survivor, creating bonds with a tribe accustomed to seclusion. Together, they find out if humanity can rekindle through true connection. So now that we have the log line, you said your cross of this story would be like what? You said two things earlier, but you were saying another one, like
Yeah, I
three
think
different things.
uh, in terms of like the premise and story, it would probably be a cross between Wally and Dances with Wolves, but like as a just for art direction and like aesthetics, it would look more like Death Stranding, like have that sort of surreal horror futuristic vibe.
So cross between Wally, Dancing with Wolves, and Death Stranding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's badass. So then, what would be the second idea?
Okay, I'm running the log line right now. I'm about to share it with you. And I'm gonna change the music. I like having the atmosphere match what we're talking about. I try to make like a nostalgic one to match your pitch.
I gotta be honest. That kind of like when I write, that's what like I use. I use music a lot. I love using music. It just makes my imagination just start going.
Dude, when I was in acting school, the first thing I would do for every character was decide what their favorite band was. And then once I decided what their favorite band was, the days I was playing that character, I would only listen to music that character would listen to. And it
Mmm.
helped like
Dude, that
it helped me like get into the mindset of like, okay, I'm this guy, like I'm blah blah blah, and he listens to fucking hardcore from the 80s and the 90s, nothing else. He hates this, he only likes this. And so when I was at the gym listening to like Suicidal Tendencies, I'm imagining like him in his room. It's like 1988. He's fucking doing crunches or whatever, and he's fucking pissed. There's a CRT like playing, you know, MTV music videos, but it's like being over blasted by his stereo. Like I'm creating a whole day that this guy is having before the scene, so that way when I get to this scene, like I know what his mindset is.
That's so cool. I never thought about that before.
Uh,
yeah, like you were saying to the music. On Monday, I had to reach this deadline for my. I'm taking a class in post-apocalyptic fiction,
cool.
and we had to meet our deadline on Monday for our draft for our short story. And I didn't get to the full draft, but I submitted like 4 pages, I think, of a short. Um, and when I was writing, like this is an off, like short story from a larger series that I'm working on that I just wanted it to be like contained.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I was working with different ideas, like I said, I wrote the diner, and then there's my character from there. Um, I wanted to think of like his origin, so I actually introduced him in this other short that I wrote on Monday, called "Whisper in the Cosmic Bend." And while I was
Ooh.
writing, I just had. Do y'all listen to Kid Cudi by chance or no?
Yeah.
Okay,
Dude,
so
you just asked me that question. Now I have to hit this poll just because you asked me that.
yeah.
Let's go.
Dude, yeah, so I love Kid Cudi, and dude, Indie Cut is, one of my favorite records, and the way the album begins with this song called The Resurrection of Scott Biscotti, and it's just like an atmosphere, like kind of soundscape of like just like the outside with like crickets, and it's like nighttime, but then it sounds like if like he's like landing to like earth for like the first time, and there's like this like industrial like kind of like hypnotic like rhythm to it, and so I just had that song on repeat because that sound is like something that I want to explore in my main series. So I wanted to like kind of create that ambiance. So when I wrote the story, I was just having it on repeat. And then when I submitted it, I put an author's note. It was like, if you want to be more immersed in the story, listen to the resurrection of Scott Miscuddy from, Kid Cudi's 2013 album Indie Cut on repeat.
Oh god.
There's
Oh
some
yeah.
there's a comic book uh event that happened where the writer got bands to compose music to match the comic book. So as you read this book called Dark Knight's Metal, there's an album, a full album that you play when you start reading it, and the whole thing is like designed to flow with the book as
Oh,
you read it, and crescendo. And
dude.
the thing is called metal, so like all the art in it is like fucking these sick album covers of like Joker on a drag, like a Joker dragon, and like the Batman who laughs. It's like it's such a cool idea. Like I wish they would do it more, where they would commission bands to like write a whole album that goes with this comic book or like this book or these like like written material. Because like I love when shit matches like that, and I love knowing that the author meant it to.
Dude, yeah, like one of my goals, with because I do want to publish like short story collections, or like maybe do like this novel one day and like have all this other stuff out, like because so sometimes you know um you could buy like a score separate, like a vinyl like music soundtrack away from like the film if you really like dig the music.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was just thinking, like, man, has there ever been like a special, like, which I mean, I guess it sounds a little taboo, but also like not really. Like I'm like, why don't more people do this? Like partner or like collaborate with like an artist or musician to like score your book, or like something to like accompany like the book in like a different way, or just like a piece of media. It doesn't even have to be like a book. Like it could be something. But I just thought, like, how cool would it be if I put out a book, but I also like made a score that accompanied the story that I'm telling, and like you could get the album with the book, or like, you know what I mean?
I think that we're literally
Mm.
on the cusp of that becoming more and more like accept, like these types of mixed media are becoming more and more like accepted. I feel like, because I think in the past people had really like strict notions about distribution and copywriting everything and making sure you get um, like licensing deals on every single thing you make. But I think now we're entering a world where the premium is on creativity and like uniqueness and artistic merit, because there is just so much AI trash, and like to have a good genuine story and have good genuine art that can be sustain the test of time is what's valuable. That these sort of things are going to become more and more acceptable, because it's like, okay, yeah, I'll buy the book and the album, and I can read a whole explanation or listen to a whole ass podcast that explains why. Like there's just so much you can like explain yourself so much better now than the days of like people just being in a record store and seeing your album. Like if they're going to buy your album physically, they already are going to see where your book is, because it's more than likely going to be at the same place. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
highly unlikely that you'd see one without the other, so why wouldn't it go together?
yeah. Like I think people can feel however they want to feel about logic, like the artist, because dude, logic, I mean I've been following his career for years, and he's someone that I like really admire, like in terms of like what he's done with these different paths in his career, and like the things that he's just done with music, and how he's also just kind of like not even like he's just doing what he wants. And like years ago, I remember when I saw him on one of his tours, and he was like, I'm writing this book, and I'm coming out with this book, but I'm writing an album for the book. And just like made this whole like rock album, sort of like hybrid rap, like alternative, um and then just like accompanied it with his book. And it was just like a completely different album from him as like an artist, but it also accompanied the book in a way that was like also like, even though it was the same, accompanying, I guess, like the book, it was so different from the book as well. So it was just like such a different thing. And I'm like, yeah, dude, why don't more people do shit like that? Like, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Like we are kind of, I think, hitting that edge of, you know, um, converging like different like media like packages and like ways
I mean, it used
to
to
get
be
more like audiences immersed.
not even that long ago. It used to be kind of like cringe, like, oh, you wear the band shirt to the band show. You know what I mean? And now it's like if you wear the band shirt to the band show, the band's like, "Thank fuck you, hey, you support us, thank you." You know what I mean? Like we've changed that idea of being like, "Oh, it's cringe to not like, oh, I like stuff, but I don't pay for it. Like I just steal the shit I like." Like that mentality about art is changing and going away. And people really do like the things people don't value anymore are like Marvel stuff and like disposable street. Like people will steal that till the end of time, but it's also because they've made it so commercial that it's like it feels like stealing a pack of Skittles. But when you see genuine art, you want to pay for it. Like there's a comic book I want to buy that I'm kind of mad at myself I haven't made it a comic book store to buy yet. But the reason I want to buy it is because the ideas and the art and the story are so interesting to me that I want it. And it has nothing to do with like, well, I always buy this book and I always buy Batman, so I got to buy Batman. It's like, no, no, you do good art and I'll come buy it. And that's the mentality of I think our generation and the younger generation. So like having to suffer through people who are all about like brands and marketing and all that stuff, I think is fading away. And people don't really care anymore about like what the big names are. Everybody wants like the authentic, like straight from the source stuff. I mean, I see the enthusiasm at like local shows is so much higher than touring shows. You know what I mean? Like I don't see people at the bigger band shows like losing their shit the same way I see them at local
At
shows.
local shows, and it's like
Yeah.
it rips.
Yeah, and people are way more into their bands. Like yeah, you might not have like a million fans, but those
Shout out
fans you
Streetland.
yeah, like those fans you have like they're ride or die. They're going to always show out for you. So, and I think I'm hoping that movies are going to start becoming that way. And like the era of like the touring movie where it's like the creators are gonna like go do their screening in this city and maybe even like who's to say you don't bring your fucking bands who help make the soundtrack with you and like have a show where you play the movie and do the soundtrack music live or whatever, like any combination of those things. I think people are way more like, yeah, I want that versus the past where it was just like, no, no, next disposable thing, like next like yeah, Saw 8, Saw 9, give me Saw 11. People are like, no, I'd rather just watch like interesting horror movies made by like actual filmmakers that I could probably meet if I really wanted to. You know, so I think I'm really happy that things are changing because you can literally same with like DistroKid, like you can just get a movie on Tubi and if it's good, people will probably watch it. So, but I have my log line ready if you guys are ready.
I'm fucking ready, brother.
You guys down?
Yeah.
Sir.
I have the cyberpunk music playing.
Where?
In my stream. I can share it. Hold on, let me put it in here. Hold on.
Okay.
I can put it in here. It's not like music, it's just atmosphere. Just to help set the...
Dude, I feel like I pulled this up the other day when I was writing.
It's satisfying. Okay. So this is like, just for context before I give you the log line, I heard when I was listening to a book one time from the guy who made all the Puppet Master movies, that the formula for exploitation movies are to rip things straight from the headlines and like form a story around it. So this is my attempt of ripping something from the headlines. Scientists use Neanderthal DNA to create a killing machine that threatens to unravel a government conspiracy that could crumble an entire city.
Oh.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh.
what do you think of that log line? And the genre is just slasher, sci-fi, a little bit of sci-fi, but mostly just a slasher. And the story...
Say it again?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I can turn the music down a little bit. Okay. Scientists use Neanderthal DNA to create a killing machine that threatens to unravel a government conspiracy that could crumble an entire city. Or you know what? Actually, I have
Ooh,
a better way to say
I
that at
like
this
that.
point.
I like that though.
So this would just be focusing in on like the one like single threat. I guess potentially what it might do for that like one location, like so the world isn't like at risk or like the country isn't at risk or anything like that.
No, it's the government. I guess the government should say is like local government or like local. Because my thing was like, I was trying to think of in the not too distant future this, in sort of like a Judge Dredd mega city situation where it's like these cities that have hundreds and hundreds of people in them, and they have these corrupt
Mm-hmm.
governments that like take payouts to deal with crime, or like they don't give a shit about the people. They're just like absorbing it and forcing people into tighter and tighter slums and making things more and more oppressive. So it's like, you know, capitalism run amok, and like this group of oligarchs, like, so my further more of the details of the story is like these oligarchs are tired of all of this gang violence and killing cops and like degenerates and vagrants. Like they want to purify the city, but they're tired of like doing it with cops. They're tired of losing people. So this oligarchs basically task the not the police. It's like the near future, so I imagine the police department would have like R&D and scientists and shit. It could just be a private company. Probably make more sense if it was a private company, but like these genetic company to like make something that can replace cops that will get rid of all of the fucking what they consider like low lifes and vermin. And the scientists who are tasked with this like off the books project decide to like, we're going to take Neanderthal DNA because they're more resilient and they have less aversions to doing the kind of shit we want them to do, and we're going to graft it onto a human being, and we're going to like they did with the dire wolves, like we're going to make a Neanderthal like hunting dog basically.
Oh
It's going to
shit.
like go out there and kill all of these gangsters for us, and we won't have to worry about it, and we'll equip him with all of this like toxic all this like toxic chemical fucking weaponry that he's immune to because of the way we're going to engineer his DNA. So they they take a man in a coma and they graft Neanderthal DNA and they birth him or Frankenstein him, however you want to describe it. Like they bring him to life and they start sending him on missions to start purifying the really really bad areas, like the super bad like cyberpunk trap houses and, you know, gang hideouts, and he's just going in there with gas and like just wiping through people like no problem. Like it's almost so easy that the people who are in charge of it are terrified, right? Because they're like they're just seeing this, like they're seeing from like their feed of his helmet cam like a heartless monster like who doesn't even see humans as his own. It's like he's killing roaches. And eventually they do it. They purify the city to the at least what the oligarchs want. So they're like, all right, shut it down. You did it. Good job. And so the scientists are like, okay. And so when they shut it down, like that night that they turn him off or whatever, kill him, give him the lethal injection, he wakes up in the middle of the night while they're gone. And he basically starts like ripping through rich elite areas, and he starts targeting like underground punk shows and like just places where there's these high density things of humans, because he's like, that's my job, I kill, I like exterminate vermin, and he sees humans as vermin. So he starts just like taking out these huge high concentrated areas, and the two scientists are like, oh, what the fuck do we do? And the oligarchs send their like their like fixer to go like make sure the scientists find him. So this fixer has like a tracker, and he's like tracking like an animal almost this thing that's going out and just wiping out huge swaths of people. And the whole conspiracy around like who made him, where did he come from, and the fixer is conflicted because his employers are the ones who made this thing, but he's now found out that you know, his employer, like, or he's this thing is killing a bunch of people. So like, what does he do? Does he like tell the media, like, does he tell the press? Does he kill this thing? Does he try and like just leave and pretend it didn't happen? So it's like you're basically following this guy who works for the corporation that made this thing, and he's not like a detective, but more just like a what the fuck do I do? Because every time he comes into contact with this like uh, killer, it's like not even human anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just like a slasher where you're just like following this guy as he tries to figure out what to do about this thing and like stop this fucking killing machine that's going around annihilating this city. And then yeah, he like leaks it to the media, and I don't know where I would go for the rest of the script. I want to like write it out, but that's the general gist of the what the story would be.
Hmm. My mind's going with a bunch of ideas right now.
I made
So
something.
like I'm thinking about like the characterization of the monster, right? Because mm, like obviously like it wouldn't have the capacity to show any kind of remorse, obviously, right? Because it's killing things. That's what
Mhm.
it's designed to do. Perhaps you could tell something a little bit deeper, like with the hunter, because the hunter is like he's
The
like you
fixer.
said, yeah, the fixture, like he's found out like its origins and everything. He's finding out why it is the way it is. He's finding out these things about the people that hired him. So it's like you said, like that conflicting feeling. Maybe you can expand on that. Kind of give.
It's kind of like your pitch was almost
Mhm.
like a cyberpunk, like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Like that, like when
Yeah,
you were talking to me about it, I was like, dude,
yeah,
this is like Frankenstein for the future.
With a little bit of like,
yeah.
I was thinking also it's like if RoboCop there was no human, like instead of RoboCop where you put a man in a machine, what if you put an animal in a man? Basically, like what if you put
Mm,
a the closest thing to a feral, not even a feral human, like a pre-human inside of a human shell with all of the like capabilities of a human shell. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it, with the increased resilience and increased like sensory awareness, but also like programmed to see humans as a threat. Because I also want to weave in there that like he has primordial hate for humans. Because have you ever heard that theory that Neanderthals and humans and Homo sapiens lived peacefully for a while, but then Homo sapiens were like, yeah, nah, and we wiped them all out. Like Homo sapiens wiped out Neanderthals. So I kind of wanted there to
Mhm.
be like there's
mm,
this primordial DNA memory that it's like Homo sapiens are they are the thing that wiped
The
out my
enemy.
people. They wiped out like I genetically am disposed to killing them. The same way we're afraid of snakes. Like he's genetically disposed to killing humans, not even because like he's just out of fear, out of pure survival instinct. Like he thinks if I don't kill them, they'll kill me. Like what is in it's in his DNA to do that. Like the same way it's in the DNA of a fox to hunt a mouse. You know what I mean? Like it's that ingrained. So I wanted to maybe have the fixer find that out too, where it's like he realizes that it's
It,
like it's not even they didn't even program him. They just literally set him free, basically.
yeah, I would suggest if you were gonna explore that idea more, maybe it would be something of because of like the corruption of the world, also like a parallel of that creature and the fixer. I feel like that would be really cool to kind of see because if the fixer is, you know, like job to literally like do like cybernetic enhancements and XYZ with like alterations of like people or technology or whatever, and then kind of uncovering that, you know I think it would make for like an interesting like parallel like journey because it's like also the fixer is also like not also human. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it would
Yeah,
be
it's like
interesting to see that parallel with like the monster versus like the fixer, but the fixer is also like man and machine
Hmm.
versus this.
What's the difference? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like I think that would be really cool to explore.
Hmm.
kind of like blur that line between like beast and machine versus like beast and machine, like something that is created synthetically or something like that, versus a man who has grown into this or has been developed into society to be the fixer, who is probably the antithesis of what it means to survive in this kind of world and where the humanity lies in between that. So it's like, hmm, is there even anything to save anymore? Or like, what's going on? Or should I do the right thing? Or should I just go get my money?
Yeah, maybe
Right,
even
exactly.
drawing parallels to how the oligarchs who he works for boss him around the way that the monster was basically told, like, do this, do that, don't, like, expected to operate that way. Like, the oligarchs basically expect the fixer to operate the exact same way. So he's basically, like, looking in the mirror and being like, I'm also just another attack dog. I'm just a different dog. Like, I'm just the dog they
Mm,
send after the dog. Like, what's the difference? Like you can draw those parallel, like the as the situation with like like those oligarchs getting exposed, it causes them to be more like the facade of their relationship to fall away, and he sees like, yeah, I'm no different, like I'm literally just a attack dog by a different name, right? Like I am, as much
mm,
as the hound is property of the king, so is the hound master. You know what I mean? Like what difference
mm.
does it make? Like we're both just pawns in this fucking game that these other people are playing. We're just like these, we've forsaken a part of ourselves and we're being forced around in the same exact way.
Mm. I'm writing.
I like the idea too that like the thing the killer itself is like this um animal, and I would love to figure out if there's a way to fit in like a parallel, not like a super obvious one, but like the same way I think Scorsese used rats in that one movie in The Departed, just to signify like, you know what I mean, symbolize like he, like these are, it's like a rat eat rat world, sort of the thing he was going for with that. I kind of like the idea of having some kind of like parallel thing that you see over and over again. That maybe like the gas he uses causes the humans to like grow a kind of flower or like decompose in a really bizarre way, and like the more that happens, it just, it leaves the whole movie with this like it's changed in the same way that the fixer goes and changes things, like so too does this guy like create new life out of his weird forms of destruction.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also like the thing I got, the reason I like wanted to do this one was that like so much of my style is informed by old horror movies, and like so much of my reason for loving film is just being like obsessed with every single slasher I could see from like the ages of 12 to now. So I kind of wanted to just like put every little reference, every little like love letter, like every type of scream angle, every type of like kill I could get in there, like just really let my horror mind go full bore with the slasher idea and like have references to Jason and Leatherface, like every single one that I grew up loving. Like the same way Tarantino likes to love letter in his movies, I would just like, this whole movie would just be like, and remember this horror movie? You remember this horror movie?
Have you ever read Frankenstein, Ray?
I haven't. I needed to listen to it because I'm literally going to the city where she came up with the idea to get married. So
Dude, you yeah, like Frankenstein to this day is still my favorite book of all time. Um, highly recommend, especially if you are wanting to like potentially do all of that, like incorporate and a culmination of just like you having the love letter to like all this other stuff, like that seems like something you could potentially just like write and then like progressively like maybe like draw out that world how you want it and just like really fine in like on the story and like what it is that you want to parallel and like explore like like thematically, but given just like how much more like you want to put into it and also it being like a genre piece as well too, like that might be like your
I'm downloading it right now.
that might be your like magnum opus per se if you wanted that to be something like that.
Yeah, I think that like my style, especially like of filmmaking and of art, is lends itself to like very extreme, very vivid horror, and like my mind could go on and like, and then this killer guy, and then this killer guy. So like I really wanted to just pick an idea, which was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to do like like you were saying, like basically a Frankenstein's monster, but very tech and very like a new twist on it, because like there's been a million homunculus stories, but uh, I like the idea of like getting very technical about like they grafted the DNA to it and proving like that's a real thing. You can do that. They've proven you can graft DNA onto a living thing. So kind of taking that
Right.
idea and then running with like what could be in the near future if everything went in the worst possible direction, because I love that. I love the aesthetics of all of that. So yeah, like I just want to incorporate all that stuff, and then I just love the song "Chemical Warfare" by the Dead Kennedys. So I was just picturing like like listening to that song and imagine being a band in a scene that's like 40 years from now, and you're at a show and you're about to play a show, and that like 14 people died at another show 2 weeks ago because they were gassed by some kind of monster that the news refuses to acknowledge. And knowing all of that, and then starting your set by playing Chemical Warfare,
Yeah.
like at the
That'd be
top
pretty
of your
sick.
lungs, and everyone there knows exactly why you're playing it, and they're losing their absolute shit. Like that was sort of the scene that made me like work my way backwards of like, okay, I
How
love,
do I get there?
yeah, how do I get there, and also like why would they be in this, like what kind of monster could you create out of the idea of like a chemical monster, like because you have to personify the the chemicals, because they're not like, it's not like I can just make gas a villain. So then I started thinking about like how what would be a good slasher that isn't just like Jason, like a revenant or like a demon or like just a strong guy. So I was like, in the end, like no one's really done caveman, played with the idea of caveman stuff. And the idea of a caveman in modern times killing a bunch of people with chemicals, I was like, that's cool. I like that. And then that, yeah, all of
Yeah.
these are like were spinning in my head, and then yeah, I came up with this. So
Mm,
Yeah, dude. No,
mm.
I would encourage you to read Frankenstein and
yeah, I'm literally
to
downloading the audiobook right now because I love listening to
uh,
books while I do stuff.
yeah, and then just to further explore maybe that parallel. Like I think that's like my main suggestion, and I think would make it for more of like a compelling story if you had a parallel between the creature and the fixer, because they're both essentially byproducts of society at that point, like
Mm-hmm.
in your world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Ray, you said you had three ideas,
Yes,
or
Mhm.
I have one last
Mm.
one that I'm about to write the log line for.
Mm.
I was wondering if maybe after, if y'all would be interested in me reading the rough draft that I did for the diner.
Yeah.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
we can do that, and I can
Fuck
get
yeah.
to the other one after that.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Yeah, I'm down. What? Let me
Yeah.
put the. Do you have an atmosphere you want me to set?
Yes, actually. Um, so there is. I actually wrote the story to this song on repeat to kind of get me in that space. Um, I mean, Ray, I would assume you're obviously like a fan of Twin Peaks
Mm-hmm.
and like David Lynch.
Very much.
Are you not?
I am. I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm not like
um,
Ray's like, no, I hate him.
I
yeah.
don't know every single detail, but like I've obviously seen it, and I love everything David Lynch. But yeah,
I wrote the story to this song on repeat, which is from The Return. Twin Peaks: The Return. I'm not sure if maybe there's a way for you
if you want
to.
to copy the link in the chat, I can paste it. Or if you tell me what the song is, I can just look it up.
Oh yeah, I threw it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
The World Spins by Julie Cruz.
Got it. And we're looping. So you're good.
Yeah.
Oh wait, can y'all hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had to put the stream volume up just a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, there we go. All right, let me.
Sorry, it's because the
pull up
last one was really loud.
You're good.
Let me pull up the short. All right. I sat in the corner booth of Danny's Diner, nervously tapping my index fingers against the worn tabletop. I went ahead and got a cup of coffee so it could cool down a bit before she gets here. The buzz from the neon clock above the front counter was oddly comforting, almost as if each tick somehow sinking to my heartbeat. I grabbed my phone from the table to check the time. The light from the neon clock hurt my eyes attempting to figure out the time every chance I took. I can't believe I'm finally getting to meet her. My first match from Memoria match. The app promises deeper connections, which I feel is true based how Jasmine and I matched off Danny's. Danny's Diner growing up felt like a safe haven. My family and I would come every Friday night for dinner to get the family special. 4 cheeseburgers, 4 Cokes, and a large onion ring. The Danny's Diner special, or the Danny's Diner dinner special, they call it. I can still see the chalk written by the original owner below the neon clock behind the counter. The doorbell chimed and she walked in, Jasmine. She quickly looked to the right, the opposite side of the diner. Once she turned around, our eyes met. She let a smile towards me as she walked with a composed elegance. Danny's crystal bubbles floated around the diner, bouncing off the top of the ceiling back into the air. I got up from the booth to greet her. "It's nice to finally meet you, Jeffrey," she said as she came in for a hug. "It's nice to meet you too. Did the weather cool down?" I reached for my lukewarm coffee. "Definitely not. It's still very cold outside, but a lot warmer in here." Jasmine took off her coat, then slipped to the other side of the booth. "Would you like a cup of coffee?" I asked. "Yes, please," she responded cheerfully. I reached over to push the button on the wall. Cup of coffee. In the center of the table, a ceramic orb warped out of thin air, floating above the table's center square. It began to shape as a mug similar to mine, filling up with hot black coffee. Jasmine pulled the mug towards her and hit the dispenser cap to the left of the cup of coffee button. 4 orbs of coffee creamer plopped into the air, gently falling into the mug in front of her. That never gets old, I whispered to Jasmine. The drops of coffee creamer, she asked. Yeah, it reminds me of my dad. We used to come here for Friday night dinners, but occasionally we would come in on a Saturday or Sunday morning if my parents didn't feel like making breakfast. My dad, he would guide the creamer bubbles and spin them around like a carousel. Jasmine took another big sip of coffee from the mug. That sounds like a very good memory. I look outside to the city lights as the sun sets on the city as I held my mug close. What does your dad do for work? Jasmine asked. Oh, well, I took a gulp of coffee. He's actually not with us anymore, unfortunately. Jasmine leaned a bit forward. Oh, Jeffrey, I'm so sorry to hear that. Jasmine reached for my hand. She grabs it. That's alright. I'm not sure whatever happened to him anyways. I felt like pulling away because I don't know Jasmine, but it felt nice. What do you mean you don't know? She asks as she holds tighter. I mean, I haven't seen my dad since I was a kid. One day, my hand starts to tremble. One day we came to Danny's and he just disappeared like if nothing. I could feel the whole diner shake, but I wasn't sure if it was me or not. Wait, what's going? The diner really was starting to shake all of a sudden. It's okay, Jeffrey, stay with me. What happened on that day? And
God damn!
Damn. I don't want it to stop. I want to keep going.
I know!
yeah.
Keep going! I'm sorry, I'm so excited.
I was picturing.
Yeah.
I was also, because you told me the other elements of the story, so I'm also in my head picturing like little cuts to like guys in white shirts at like analog machines, like NASA almost, like watching this through her eyes.
Golly, bro. That's so
Yeah.
good.
Dude, thank you.
That's so. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know what I was getting into. And then like the music started playing, you started reading. I was like, I am enthralled. I need more.
What kind of like diner aesthetic were you thinking of when you wrote it?
Well, you know, I guess I was just thinking like like sort of like retro futurism,
Yeah,
like,
same.
you know,
Did you ever?
red, white,
Yeah. Did you ever go to one of
black,
those like
silver.
UFO themed diners?
No, but I would see like videos of some
Yeah,
sometimes, like on YouTube or TikTok.
we would road trip to Arizona, and like all the road in the desert out there, like especially if we go the Roswell route, has these like really like chromed out diners. Some of them are like cheesy. They'll have like little like Christmas neat like star lights, and they'll have like these super, everything's like chrome. It's supposed to look like a spaceship. And I was just picturing like this super like retro chromed out diner, and like all the things you were saying. Like I could already see the shots in my head. Like the
Bro, the
coffee
bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I can see that shit. That was amazing. I love that. I need more. I'm gonna buy your first copy.
Yeah. Dude, thank you. I got a little bit more to go. Like, I'm at like 670 words right now, but
Mhm.
that's the thing is like this story is so much more. Like, there's so much more to this story, but you know, since I never wrote it and I've always just kind of had the idea, I was like, man, let me, because it's like there's a level to reality that doesn't necessarily get too deep or like explored, but you see like as the story progresses, like how the reality is kind of sort of fragmented, or like there's like something that doesn't really sit right or whatever. So I'm having
Mhm.
to sort of like encapsulate just like this like moment that they're sharing, like of intimacy that translates to like her trying to get him to like maintain his like, you know, just power essentially, because um it's not that he can't control it, because it's the fact that you know,
Mhm.
they just don't have access to the dimension that he holds. So like the idea is that um I don't know if I said this earlier because I did talk about it with my coworker. I don't think I had said this to y'all earlier when I mentioned it the first time, but so you know like the power of like the Avatar, like the Last
Mhm.
Airbender, like
Mhm.
Aang, right? Where it's like the power gets like passed down,
Yeah.
like through generations. Um, so Jeffrey is the one who gets this essentially like curse sort of passed down to where it's like he's the door. So
Mm.
there's like previous people in this world that have existed as the door to this other dimension that holds levels on levels of like otherworldly creatures or anomalies, essentially.
Mm. I
Um,
see.
and so they're a part of an agency that is, you know, their goal is to contain, you know, different like anomalies and stuff. And so since he's essentially like if the door gets unleashed and nobody's there to like control it, then the whole world goes to hell. But
Oh,
he's essentially the reason why his dad disappeared.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
Bro.
it's leading to where he's like starting to remember like you know one day my dad disappeared and it's like he doesn't really remember. So that's like the traumatic
Mhm.
like moment of you know the story slash like big reveal where his dad was actually an agent and
Goddamn.
yeah and his son happened to be cursed with being like the door. So
Whoa.
No.
yeah, so his dad while trying to like obviously like not like you know freak out his son or like try to like elevate the situation, the son ends up unleashing the door in the diner. And then not only were there like casualties, but his dad gets trapped in the dimension that he holds the door to.
Bro. It's so heavy.
Yeah. So the
Oh my god.
idea with the story is that by the time he figures everything out, the same thing happens to this group of agents
Oh
and
shit.
then his reality collapses and he realizes that the diner that they've been in the whole time is just a cell beneath an abandoned diner, which was the real diner that he destroyed when he was a kid.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bro. Fucking.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Holy fuck.
That's
That's
cool.
amazing.
But he's an important part to like my world or like the
Mhm.
series that I created. I wrote a TV series in college that I was like gonna you know pitch for like competitions and stuff called
Mhm.
Riverside, where it explores like in the farther future of
Mhm.
this group that gets contracted to um, explore this paranormal anomaly in the southeast of Texas in the town of Riverside. So this is like farther into like the future where
Oh shit.
this group explores this anomaly um, of the disappearance of this documentary crew who was investigating the local folklore of a creature called the Pigman in Riverside.
Ooh.
And essentially they discover that that creature was essentially a ruse for another creature who is from that dimension that Jeffrey is the door to. So it like kind of plays like a bigger like a bigger part in this series I call the Cosmic End.
Bro.
Yeah. So
Holy shit.
That's really cool.
but
Bro.
other thoughts or criticisms for the diner?
I gotta be honest, like I feel like the way you wrote it is very, very like it's very easy for like the imagination to grasp to and then just like latch onto it. Like I feel like the writing flow is fucking spot on. And I like how you have like that subtle, I mean this isn't really criticism, but this is more just like just praising the writing that you did to it. I like the writing flow of the dialogue. I feel like you really did a good job on, even though it's like it's a relatively short thing, you like you did a very good job of characterizing your main character as well as the person that he was meeting and giving them like different, how do you say, mannerisms in their speech, even though it was really short. So you could clearly tell that like, oh, these are two different people having a conversation, which I feel is like a little bit more difficult for people to do for the most part. You know, it's like, oh, like they make dialogue and it's like, oh, this kind of feels like it's the same person talking to themselves. No, like
Hmm.
you did good characterization, and I feel like that's just awesome.
I just want to know more about the world. Like if you're gonna do the next draft, I would, like even if it feels a little junky, I would add more any of the more details that you're picturing in your head, just to like cue us in more under the world. Because like I'm so curious about like every detail.
Yeah, like
So
I was hooked on the bubbles, like that kind of threw me
Yeah.
for a loop. And I feel like if there was any kind of criticism, it would be that like expand more on the environments themselves because it seems like such a like oh like everything is fucking cool, but it's like dude, like you had me hooked on just just the description of the diner itself and like just how different it was because it's like yeah, describing it as like a diner, you kind of get like that picture of what a diner is in your mind, but then when you start thinking about it in the context of the world that you've built and you add like little things like that, it's like like this is fucking cool because it gives it so much personality. So it's like those set pieces are important and it's like I love how you did it with that, but it's like do that more too please. Like because you had a way of like wording it where it's like you're really drawed in and you honed in on like on I guess someone's intention with their mind of how they go and how they picture something. And it's like I feel like that's not done enough. And I feel like that's amazing how you did it. So yeah, what Ray said basically.
Damn, nah, dude, that means a lot because I feel like I have such a. I feel like maybe it wasn't. Well, I mean, I still kind of felt that way about like this story because I feel like I have such a hard time with dialogue a lot of the times.
Mm,
But I feel like maybe just because with this story, it's like sat with me for so long and it does play like an integral piece to like a
mm,
larger story that it's just like kind of it's like always kind of on my mind in a way and maybe that's why like yeah like it just kind of maybe float a little bit more even though I do feel like my weakest is dialogue for sure like I think
mm,
generally am I right because I feel like sometimes like I focus so much more on the environment so I
mm,
think the fact that like you told me that but you also like
mm,
wanted more of the environment because I was trying to
mm.
keep like a good balance like I think that's really cool that you said that because
Well, yeah, because like for dialogue, like dialogue can be really difficult because it's like I said, like what a lot of people do that I find, and sometimes I've done the same thing, where it's like you feel like you're writing two different characters that are speaking to each other, right? It's supposed to be a conversation, but sometimes you get so lost on the objective of the conversation that you end up more or less kind of just talking to yourself. And it's like the dialogue sometimes I've had like when I write for characters and stuff, I like to get really personal with the characters specifically, you know. And it's like I think when I used to write when I was younger, like I would do that a lot. I would read back on what I was reading and I'd be like, man, this guy's just talking to himself. Like this isn't interesting at all. But then like I go back into fucking D&D. Um because with D&D like you have to write characters for the world, right? So it's like when you have integral characters that you want people to meet, that you want your players to interact with, it's like you got to give them personality, you got to give them a way to speak. And it's like when I sat down to write now that I have that experience, it's like to draw in on those little mannerisms or how they talk. It's like when you had like you had me hooked when your dude was saying like, "Oh, I lost my dad," right? Like he's not with us anymore, right? You had the way of speaking where it's like you were coming from a place of genuineness out of the way you were pronouncing it in your words, right? But then when you had the woman speak and she was like, "Oh, like I'm so sorry." It's like it's in the dialogue, it's in the delivery, and not just in the writing. And it's like I feel like that's kind of lost on people sometimes. So I feel like you're on like if you recognize that as something as a weakness with yourself as far as writing, that's excellent because that means that you are on the right track of honing in on that. So it's like just with that little bit, like you already had me hooked in there, you know? So just fucking go for it. Like bro, like I said, I want to be the first person to buy.
Yeah, dude, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Like I don't get to talk about writing as much. Like I used to like I'm similar to what like you're saying, like you've had this idea for years. I've had ideas for years as well sitting in my head and I didn't really start to get to explore those ideas until I really actually started like writing for like stories for D&D. And I know that I keep going back on that, but it's like it's such an integral part of my creative process at this point and it's like it's a good way to kind of stretch those muscles and kind of push the limits of what you can and can't do. And the trick is to kind of go into that mindset and be like, to go beyond the I can't do part and like, I can do that. Just give me some time. So it's like, I know what it's like where you've had this idea in your head, you know who these characters are, you know how they talk. And it's like when you have a chance to showcase it, it's like, oh, this just kind of flows out of me. That's because that's a story that you're meant to write. Like, dude, just get it out there. Like, bro, it's begging to be fucking released. Like, I want more. I,
Oh, man, dude, that
I,
means a lot. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. I could go on forever. I'm sorry. Ray, do you have anything to say?
No, I was just kind of I was picturing it as sort of a comic, and then also it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but like I was imagining the story in a game and how fucking
Mm-hmm.
cool it would be to play as this character you've made, and the whole game is just about unraveling this mystery that you've written in this world that you've created.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was also just picturing like how cool it would be to like be in these shoes and like yeah. So no, I thought it was great. Um,
Oh, dude.
that was really good.
Fuck.
Dude, no, thank you. That I mean, like my main goal with just like everything that I'm doing is to like write for TV and video games. Like that's like my
Mm-hmm.
main like what I want to do. So, if I could potentially, start just like, continuing to just kind of like push these stories and just to, make more of just like the world that I've been just kind of steadily just like adding on or, getting ideas from, for like the last couple years. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've always seen, I guess in my head with the diner, I kind of saw it more as like a movie in my
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
head,
I
but
could see that
then,
too. I could see it as a movie
but
too.
th- but then like Riverside was a TV show. Like it was always a TV show. And
Mm-hmm.
then you know, so basically, like what I was mentioning about the cosmic whisper in the cosmic band when I was writing it on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
I was writing it as a one-off to the cosmic end world. So like the world essentially starts with like superheroes or like people who get superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was writing it as like a contained story with just like random people who we never get to see or explore or whatever. Like it just happens. These
Mm-hmm.
people get, exposed to this cosmic energy power, and they all die in like a very different way or get exposed to this energy and just kind of disappear or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I was thinking like, man, like I never thought about like how like Jeffrey like becomes the door. So
Mm-hmm.
I started having that in my mind when I wrote the Whisper in the Cosmic Ben on Monday. Like randomly, I was like, let me just like throw Jeffrey in here and see like what I can do like with him as like a character, and like maybe this is where that happens, or like or what, maybe this happens like later, or it's, so I don't know, like I threw him in there
Mm-hmm.
not really necessarily knowing if it would make sense or not. But I'm trying to maybe act on it to make it make sense to what I would eventually do with the origin of his character. And then also writing this with like him being a kid and then understanding like he's the reason that happened to his dad, like, or whatever. So it just
Yeah.
being like a loop, or like, he's experiencing this like weird cosmic dream because of like his power or something. So um but yeah, no, I really appreciate those thoughts and comments on it, because yeah, dude, I've just been trucking along, and this is the first iteration of the diner, so
Yeah, man. Like I said, like you've had this stewing in your brain for such a long time. At this point, it's already you probably have it already refined at this point. So it's like all you got to do is just write it, and it's like, dude, like it's such good storytelling that you got in your hands right there. Like, oh, I can't stress that enough. Holy shit!
Man, no, thank
Like
y'all,
it,
seriously.
it's just nice to uh how do you say speak with it's nice to finally speak with people who understand like how a well put together story can really honestly just like bring that level of immersion into somebody's brain. It's like I don't like a lot of that gets like lost in translation with a lot of people, and it's like it's just nice. It's nice. I love hearing other people's stories, and you better update me on that shit because I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, any help you
Dude.
want, you're like, we're both here to like anything,
Yeah, dude.
any ideas, anything you need.
Dude, yeah, no, I gotta take my dog out real quick. I'll be right back. But no, I mean
Yeah,
that would be great. I could once I get back, if you want to pitch your other one, I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
talk to y'all more about like the world and
yeah,
sure,
dude.
stuff.
sure.
But
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
go ahead.
BRB.
We'll watch some clips while we wait.
I wrote some stuff for you regarding your two
I saw that. You want to read it
stories.
real quick? Let me see.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sure.
I was talking to Muncie in my personal chat.
Oh, you're good.
Let's see.
Uh, Hold on, I'm a little bit indisposed right now. I have I sometimes I think I do have something with my brain because like I got to be doing multiple things at one time to be focused. If that
Yeah,
makes
it's called
sense.
being a millennial.
Is it?
Listen, can you give me some fucking space, please? Jesus Christ. Like
This is like
Jesus.
no.
He's sitting so close to my feet, I can't move.
That's funny. Kaz does the same thing when I sleep. He's always by my legs, so I can't actually move anywhere. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to sleep and get comfortable. And he's like, no.
He does this in bed too, where he'll like wedge himself so close that he pushes you off the bed. But it's like, dude, I'm trying to stand here.
Yeah,
He's like literally trying to push me underneath my own desk.
bro.
And he can hear that I'm talking.
Is
I think it's because he hears me talking. He's like, oh, I guess I better be here.
oh, he's like important event. I
Yeah.
must attend.
He's been really needy lately.
Sorry. Oh, he's just feeling some kind of way.
Yeah.
No, but get that gets fucking annoying sometimes because I'm like, bro, I'm trying to take a shit. Stop trying to get in the bathroom, please. That's what Kaz does with me all the fucking time. All right, give me a second. Hold up what I wrote down. Second. Okay, let me see. It was just some small stuff that I got a little bit inspired by what you were talking about. Some little bit of shit here. Let me see. Okay, here we go. I have it. Whenever you're ready, buddy.
Oh, okay. So start reading? Or you want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it, or unless you want to read it, doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll start reading it.
Mhm.
A figure crosses through a barren landscape, gray, overcast, blotting out the sky. Heavy footsteps collide with puddles along the figure's path. A peculiar ticking sound seemingly following the person, getting louder as they step through the puddles, but quieting as they move away from the stagnant water. Camera shot reveals a wide angle of a man draped in dirty and tattered clothing, an oversized dark box emitting the ticking sound strapped to their back. An up close shot of a panel on the black box shows a Geiger counter rising and falling as the man continues his way along the puddles, traveling through them haphazardly rather than carefully traversing. The man tired sorry. The man's tired
It's
face
rough.
suggests lack of self-preservation, but their face suggests a steady assuredness that's unwavering. Suddenly, a loud scratching sound echoes from the box, printing with hurried writing. Radiation levels rising. Suggestion: move to a new area. The corner of the man's lips curl into a smirk, a scoff erupting from his chest. As a cough, or is it a scoff?
It's a scoff. Sorry.
So it's supposed to be like a.
He's just like,
Okay.
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
His gravely voice rings out like two rocks scraping together. Worried about my health now? I'm used to it. Ain't gonna drop dead now. Huh, so you imagine the computer thing talks to him.
I did. I was like,
I thought of it more as like my computer now, where it's like an extension of himself. So it's like I need it to play my old nostalgia, and I want it to like.
I've returned.
Hello.
Hello. I was reading the things Junior
Hello.
wrote in the thing.
I wrote a couple of things when Ray was describing his movie pitches, and I was like, I like the box. I want to make the box a character. I'm sorry.
You really want it to be like Booster Gold and Skeets.
I do.
He's not Skeets.
I am D&D.
The box
rock
has
brain.
to die, okay? The box cannot have a personality if it's gonna
No,
die.
exactly. It dies to make the people feel bad for the box.
No, but I also imagine that the bomb happened before AI was a thing. So like how would it talk? You know what I mean? Like all the technology he's
yeah,
collecting is from like 2009. So like
that's true.
what would the AI be from? And I don't want him to be so smart that he made it. So that's why
It's from like an
he
old
could
Android phone.
he could be talking to himself,
Oh, that could work.
like Wilson style, where like you're only hearing one side of the conversation. Do you know what I mean? Where he's just like, "No, I know.
Oh,
Shut up." Like he's talking to it the way like you talk to your car, but it doesn't
that's
actually
true.
respond. But you know what I mean?
Wait, so is this for your first idea, or
Yeah,
is
this was the
for?
one he wrote about Red Wire. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
He wrote this thing. I'll read it again.
it's very. It's very rough.
A
Sorry.
figure crosses through a barren landscape, gray, overcast, blotting out the sky. Heavy footsteps collide with puddles along the figure's path. A peculiar ticking sound seemingly following the person, getting louder as they step through the puddles, but quieting as they move away from the stagnant water. Camera shot reveals a side angle of a man draped in dirty and tattered clothing, an oversized dark box emitting the ticking sound strapped to their back. An up close shot of a panel on the black box shows a Geiger counter rising and falling as a man continues his way along the puddles, traveling through them haphazardly rather than carefully traversing. The man's tired form suggests a lack of self preservation, but their face suggests a steady assuredness that's unwavering. Suddenly, a loud scratching sound echoes from the box, printing with hurried writing. Radiation levels rising. Suggestion: move to a new area. The corner of the man's lips curl into a smirk, a scoff erupting from his chest. His gravelly voice rings out like two rocks scraping together. Worried about my health now? I'm used to it. Ain't gonna drop dead now.
Me.
And we were
It's rough.
I was saying like the box doesn't talk.
I want the box.
Oh, interesting.
Because
I want the box to be a character so bad.
You know,
I'm sorry.
It's I mean, I would maybe second the box talking. That would be pretty sick. Just because I'm also like, I'm really into the idea of just like the way maybe like old tech can just kind of like live and like communicate or whatever. Like I think that's like really cool.
It just gains sentience.
It's just
yeah, like
clicky.
it just adds like a quirk kind of.
I want
but
people to feel bad when the box dies.
it's interesting
Why?
because I don't know, dude. Like, did y'all recently see the new A24 movie Y2K?
I haven't.
no.
I want to see it. I like the
Okay,
effects
dude.
look good.
A lot of people were talking shit about that movie, but dude, fuck the haters, fuck the critics, dude. Y2K was a good ass movie.
What was their
It's
criticism?
probably,
Just they didn't like Rachel Ziegler.
dude, I don't even know. Like, there was just so much negative about that movie that just kind of was like, damn, is it really like that bad? But
'Cause the
no,
trailer
dude, that
looked
movie
cool.
was gold. Like, that movie was crazy. And it's really like, it was such an interesting concept of like how they really brought like the old tech and like made it in like such a way. And I feel like there's like the way you're saying about like the box here kind of reminds me of like a way that happens in Y2K.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I second that. That would be pretty sick.
Oh, I want I want people to feel bad because you know why? Because then it'll be like,
He could
oh
have a.
well, this
What if
is
he has a Tamagotchi in the thing?
yes,
So it just communicates in beep beep beep.
dude, yes. And then like the whole premise of the movie was like, oh well, can humanity like make connections
So you
again?
have, like,
But
the-
you made a connection with a box.
Oh, I don't want the connection to be with the box. I want it to be with the people. I'm trying to think of how to make that work because I understand there is
I'm derailing this.
there is
I'm
a way
derailing
to
this so
give
fast.
the box personality, but I'm trying to think of how because I always saw it as an extension of himself.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to think of how because it's like a shell, like a hermit crab. Like the hermit crab's shell doesn't talk to him,
Hmm.
but there's good.
It's a good question.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
It's an interesting.
It's like
idea. I have to think about
it's
it because I didn't
it's
think,
like
think about the box. I didn't think about giving the box a personality.
it's like when you go on D&D and you see just a random goblin and you're like, I want to make that my friend. Next thing you know, Boblin the Goblin is there for the
No,
entire
what I want to
campaign.
do is kill him, put him in an orb, and then carry him around in my pocket.
That's true.
That's just
That's
what I
true.
did.
Yeah, or like I watched The Electric State recently too on Netflix, which I can understand why people maybe didn't really like that movie, but
Mm-hmm.
that's like a really cool, interesting film on just like the old tech versus like new tech like world too, and
I need to
just like
watch that.
the quirks with like old tech. Yeah, with Chris Pratt and Billy Bobby Brown.
I saw billboards for it when I was in Monterrey last time, and me and Monse were both just like, "What the fuck is this movie?" I didn't even realize that was Chris Pratt because of the haircut. Like, I literally didn't even.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, "What is this Mexican movie?" And then I remembered like that things don't work that way anymore. Like,
This blockbuster Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, what is El Guardians of El Galaxy?
El Guardians.
El Guardianzo.
El Guardianzo.
Monterrey is crazy. When I was there, I was like, I want to make a movie here so badly because the aesthetics of Monterrey are so like. They're almost cyberpunk if you just added a bunch of CG neon lights because everything is so vertical and like there's so many like cool like an abandoned building full of graffiti that just sits there forever and they don't clean it or anything. Like it's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like right next to like a $200,000 high rise like apartment comp like where every unit is worth 200,000 or whatever. Like there's like places that have pool roofs and then a place that's just like a concrete hole in the wall where they blast
Oh,
cumbia music. Like it's all right on top of
yeah.
each other. And it's like I love the aesthetics of that place.
Dude, Ray, I do Uber, right? I've been
Hmm.
to some crazy ass places where people live. There is a single, like you know in Judge Dredd, where
Hmm.
like people live in those like blocks or whatever, and they're like literal just
Mega City
huge ass
1.
buildings. Yeah, there's a place like that here, and I went to deliver, and like, so it literally looked like a mega city. It's a huge ass building. It used to
So
be an
wild.
office building. Yeah,
Where is it?
and the only way,
Isn't it 410
um,
in 281?
fuck. I think so.
Is it the one
It's
that's
over
like a
by.
giant like crystal triangle?
No, but I want to see that. The fuck? Where have you been?
It's by the
Holy
it's by
shit!
the airport. It's been there forever. It used to be Time Warner Cable.
No, no, no. It's a different one. I have a picture of it. I know where it's at. It's ah,
So you're
it's
saying
like
we
going
should
to,
go there and take it over,
yes.
like the
So
Mama
like
clan?
I'm pretty sure some gang runs that entire place because like it is like at least like oh my god, like it's fucking tall, and the only way up and down that fucking building is literally two elevators. And I think when I went there, it was like 20 different floors, 30 different floors up. Bro, it's fucking wild. I was like, this is crazy.
That's cool.
I couldn't handle it. I looked up and like the building just kept going into the sky. I have a picture of it. Like, I'll send it to you later. But like, dude, I was like, this is some cyberpunk bullshit.
Well, speaking
I'm
of,
going.
let me
Oh,
read your second one.
yeah. Oh, me?
No, I'm gonna read the second one.
Well, okay.
You did
Keep in
too.
mind, this one's more dialogue heavy.
Yeah, that's fine. I got it.
Okay. Okay. And it has some spelling mistakes.
Let
I'm
me
very
try and do my
sorry.
Keanu Reeves voice. It was a simple
Okay.
job, just like the last hunt. Another piece of rope, tech down, get my money, go home. Now, the fixer stares at a screen within a dark room, multiple windows of data showing the tech, his target's origins, a man forced into a marriage of flesh and machine, coupled with some beast this corporation dug up from hundreds of years ago. Since when do I give a shit? You gotta do what you can to survive, right? But this company that hired me, the way they're going about it, doesn't sit right. The screens fade into a single picture of a monster, the fixer's target, showing on the screen. The fixer leans in, his own face reflecting on the glass of screen, as he comes to a grim realization. Him and I aren't so different. Just tools to take orders to survive. Dogs of war, forged in different flames. Maybe this dog got tired of it, and maybe I am too. Cyberpunk.
Why the music go so well?
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, he likes to like smoke. Wait, hold on.
Where my light?
Oh shit.
Maybe this dog got
No.
tired of his stay. Maybe I am too.
I'm gonna do my best impression of this guy. Mm.
I was
Like,
doing like
drink
Duke
some water.
Nukem.
Dude,
That's amazing. I like that better. See, I want to read it if that's okay. Can I read it?
Go for it. This is fun.
All right. I'm so nervous for some reason. Oh my. Okay. It was a simple job. Just hunt another piece of rogue tech down, get my money, and go home. Now. The fixer stares at a screen within a dark room. Multiple windows of data showing the tech, his target's origins. A man forced into a marriage of flesh and machine, coupled with some beast this corporation dug up from hundreds of years ago. Since when do I give a shit? You gotta do what you can to survive, right? But this company that hired me, the way they're going about it, doesn't sit right. The screens fade into a single picture of this monster, the fixer's target, showing on the screen. The fixer leans in, his own face reflecting on the glass of the screen as he'd come to a grim realization. Him and I aren't so different. Just tools who take orders to survive. Dogs of war forged in different flames. Maybe this dog got tired of it, and maybe I am too.
oh, dude, that was so
No.
sick.
As soon as you say that, you have to cue the Diamond Dogs logo for Metal Gear Solid 6.
But dude, tell me why. When you were reading and you like you when you got to the line since when do I give a shit? I just thought like, oh my god, you said it so like similar in a way to how Ray did that it kind of reminded me in my head of like it's like when you accidentally press to talk with
NPC twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like a moment like that. So when you're like, so when do I give a shit? I was like, holy shit.
Oh man, I pressed it again. Damn it.
Yeah, dude, I was trying not to laugh because you were delivering the line so.
I heard
But I was like, fuck.
when I heard Dogs of War, I
Yeah.
just immediately pictured the fucking 3D models from Metal Gear Solid, like lighting the cigar. Like fucking, you see like Hideo Kojima come up. Maybe I am too, Hideo Kojima.
It's just a screen.
Or it's like when you accidentally click the NPC twice and then you're
Yeah.
like trying to speak the dialogue, so you're like, so when do I give him and I aren't so dogs of war forged in different flames. So
Dogs.
you're like trying to speed through the dialogue again to skip the speed.
Too.
God damn it! I hate Discord, man. Shit, am I still cutting out? Holy fuck!
No, he was saying.
No, you're not cutting out. I
The
was
joke
just saying,
is like when you're playing a game and you hit the dialogue twice and you're like, oh shit.
Oh,
So you click
you're
it,
trying to, like,
like
skip through it?
jump through the dialogue. So it's like him and I aren't dogs of war for maybe this dog and maybe I am too. And like you see the 3D model jitter like
yeah,
because it's going to the keyframe of that line, so it's like
we gotta clip that shit.
oh fuck, that's fun.
Yeah.
Those are cool. You ready for the last one? The last
Yes.
I don't know if you guys saw my short film that got kicked off of YouTube after like 3 days.
Ooh.
So last year at the Brick, they did like a essay Sundance. It was just like a show, but they were like, let's do a little like DIY film festival aspect to it. And I had never submitted to like a festival or like a show. I haven't submitted anything really. I mostly just make shit and then never show anybody because I'm too shy. So I submitted this film to the festival, and when it played, like the vibe of it was at the Brick, right? They had on that big white wall, and the vibe, everyone was talking because I forgot who had just finished playing. I think Street Lamp was about to play, and someone else had just finished playing. So everyone was like chilling and talking, and then my thing started, and everyone like got quiet, and then by the time my thing was over, everyone was like, well, like everyone was so uncomfortable and like I brought the room to like a screeching halt of like I am shitting my pants. That was scary, you know. Like even I forgot who was there with me. I think my friend Sai and Monse was there, and they were both like, "That was a lot. That was really intense."
Oh, Mike.
I think my sister was there too, and my sister and my brother-in-law were both like, "That was really good." They're like, "It's fucking scary."
Flashback to Leftover Film Fest.
Dude, it's a great feeling, like when you fucking scare the shit out of people with your stuff. So I was like, I thought about like how I could take that short film and like expand on it. So let me change my shared windows. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. And change this guy. I don't know why it's so much fun to have visual aids while I talk. Did I do the wrong one?
Slideshow.
Huh. I don't know why it's not showing.
It's showing.
No,
Yeah, I've seen it.
On my stream, it's not showing. On my OBS. Let me use VLC. 1 second. Anyways, the I can read the log line while I do this. An underground zine does an issue about cursed VHS tapes containing a creepy man in a mask speaking to the viewer. The writer of the article is haunted by visions of a man until eventually confronting the boogeyman in real life. So that's the log line.
Oh. I kind of missed it, the last part of it.
Oh,
The last part you
cut out, brother.
My bad. I'll read it again. Let me just get this shared.
Also, Underground Zine and Man in a Mask, are you just describing Ninepin Punk and Matt Cinematic, or what's up?
No. I'm not describing a lot of people that we may or may not know and have worked with before. Definitely, totally not a thing any of us are familiar with or have met before. Wow, I don't even know why you get that from. Damn it, it's not showing them. What the hell?
Shout out Ninepin Punk. Shout out me.
Shout out you. Shout out other people we know who I may or may not be happy about me parodying them in a movie, so I won't say who they are. But shout
I'll parody myself.
but shout out. Why won't it share? Why are you being like this? Why you be like this?
Why you do this? I'll
just go back to YouTube. Wow, I really killed the momentum of this with this. I'll just search VHS static. Yes, thank you. I'm dying. I'm bombing. I set the stage like I have the creepiest shit ever, and then just nothing. Literally, yeah. I mean, I can show you guys in Discord, at the very least. But for what I guess OBS is like, nah, dude, you're gonna get kicked off Twitch. Don't. Whatever you're gonna show on your VLC, don't. Definitely don't do it. I have a feeling that's what it was saying.
Maybe.
But I'm just going to play the short film for you guys. These guys can hear the audio of it. These freaking jabronis.
Jabronis.
It's only like 5 minutes, so we can just watch it. Because I don't think either of you guys have seen this, right?
I have not.
No.
Yeah.
But a lad if I somehow saw this somewhere on YouTube.
So like
years ago.
No, it was on YouTube for like 2 weeks, and then they were like, "We're gonna kick you off YouTube if you keep this here." And I was like, "All right."
Oh my god.
Understood.
Fucking YouTube.
I get you, YouTube. It's pretty graphic. I thought I would get away with it. I don't know why, but I thought I would.
Mm.
Oh shit. Sorry. Sorry. I got a lot going on, guys. Bear with me. Okay, you see it? Is it here? Can you guys see it?
I can see.
Yes.
Yes.
I've always felt different than everyone else. As a child, the other kids would play while I would simply watch them have fun from a distance. As I got older, the people around me began calling me the Wallflower, a name that suited my silent disposition. I was left alone most of my life, always searching and never finding. But as the years went on, I found solace behind the view of a camera, my 8mm dark bloom. I began to record everything I could, the mundane and the malevolent, the thrashings of a vicious youth. But my eyes were drawn to a specific vision. I started by filming my dolls. The idealized female forms became my obsession. I would make each one a different view from my surreal perversion. Shoelace and string to bond them, red ink to give them color, poses to dance in the view of my camera. But I still longed for a more accurate model, something with the scale and weight of a real woman. I found what I was looking for at the estate sale of a local seamstress. She was plain and simple, something to display a sundress or a modest Sunday blouse. Quaint, a corruptible innocence. I would dress her in lingerie I found at second-hand stores, almost all of it brand new, too small to wear and too embarrassing to return. But they always fit my quaint canvas. After some time with her, I began to feel her drawing me in. I felt it deep within me, a darkness pulling me into the life-sized doll. I poured through books of the occult to solve the mystery of my yearning. The more I read, the louder the doll's call became. I baptized her in my blood when I performed my first ritual, an offer to the ceramic idol. I rolled the ground flower of a peyote button into a small white cigarette, inhaled it, then sliced into myself and began to hallucinate as the blood ran down my newfound altar. As I sat in the black of my subconscious, a voice in the pit of my being spoke to me. It told me where to go, how to be, and finally, where I would find you. You, a living, breathing work of magic. My red inkwell, my bound woman, my eternal possession.
Yo,
It's still going.
that was dope.
Dude, that was sick, but in my mind, like halfway through, I was like thinking, like, dude, I can only imagine what everyone's reaction was. Just being at the
Wallflowers wilt.
Yeah, you can imagine a room full of people just like dead silent. Like no.
I've been to the brick,
Oh
and
my
that shit
god,
is.
I'm so excited to see Street Lamp. Oh my god.
Literally, yeah,
And
they're
then-
like setting up as this is happening. They're like putting their
I've
amps
always
down,
felt different than
and then
everyone
this just starts
else.
playing. It's like no
That's
context.
amazing.
Not me going up and being like, "Here's my movie." Like literally, the lights just go down. This starts playing on a ginormous wall, huge sound system, and my family and my fiance are sitting there, and I'm just like watching everybody squirm.
It's amazing.
Watching it now, I'm like,
Dude.
why the fuck did I think I could leave this on YouTube? I'm really stupid. I was very ignorant to how much I
It
could get away with.
reminded me of like the dialogue kind of reminded me of like Goblin era Tyler, and then the the idea of like just kind of like the dolls and the blood and like art and everything and just kind of making that. It's like I just recently started watching and finished the first half of the new Daredevil series.
I didn't watch
Um,
it.
and there's a villain in the new series that literally reminds me of this character that you did in your short.
Oh, really? What character is it?
I don't know if it's a character that exists in the comics, but it's a character called Muse.
Oh, I think it. No, yeah, it does. It's a pretty uh cool design in the comics too, like the bleeding eye thing.
Oh, okay. So it does exist in the comics. That's
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, your character reminded me of Muse.
yeah. It's very much like sadistic, artistic psychopath. Like the guys who think that they're artists when they're
When
obsessed with
they're
like
just
yeah.
fucking
So
yeah.
now that you've seen that, let me read the log line, see if it clicks a little more.
Yeah.
So, an underground zine does an issue about cursed VHS tapes containing a creepy man in a mask speaking to the viewer. The writer of the article is haunted by visions of the man until eventually confronted by the boogeyman in real life. So,
Oh.
I was thinking of it being sort of like, um, God damn it, Bessie, can I please? My dog is really not giving me any space to stand here. But thinking of it as like they do this, like the zine is like they're like, what's the next issue gonna be, and like what are we gonna do? And they come across like a pile of VHSs that someone like found at a vintage store, and they're like, hey, we should like go through these and see if there's anything cool. And when they do, they find that like my short film on one of them,
Mm.
and they're all like, that was fucking weird. We should do a fucking story about this. And they like take stills of like different frames of the tape, and like they make it the cover, and they make like a jokey version, and they make like a Phantom of the Alamo character out of him. And they like have one of their guys do like a whole photo shoot where they dress up like him and they recreate stuff from that's in the VHS. And I'd probably make more like little shorts like this in the lead up to filming the actual one that they would see. So it'd be kind of like in the
Mhm.
ring where like you watch this VHS and then you're cursed. Um, so like they make up a curse. Like it isn't. It's just these creepy VHS tapes that they find. But the author is like, it's not fun enough. I'm gonna make up a curse about how if you watch these tapes and you trade them around and you say this guy's name and you propagate the phantom, he's gonna get you. And like, is it real? I don't know. Like, it's very tongue in cheek, right? And it's supposed to be just like a cute, fun article and like trying to make a San Antonio's villain, like another pantheon that we can put on T-shirts and make little tchotchkes of. Like that's the
So
idea.
basically, you're saying I'm the villain.
You're not the villain. You're the victim, unfortunately. Because what ends up happening is that they run the story and it's a huge success, and everyone's like, "This is hilarious! Like the Phantom rocks! Like we love the Phantom," and they're like, "Dude, we should do like a." Like they're just like everyone's loving it, and it's gonna follow the same beats as Phantom of the Opera. So like the zine editors are gonna be the stand-ins for the opera owners, and Christine, the opera singer, is gonna be the author. Is gonna be the like analogous character. So I really want to like take the Phantom of the Opera and like do it the same beats and have the same and a lot like analogous characters, but instead of it being about like the opera stage, it's about this like the stage would be like these shows that they're doing and like the zine and like the culture that these guys are fostering. That's their opera house, and they're being haunted because they exploited the Phantom without giving him his due. You know what I mean? Because I
Mm.
want to have like the author have a nightmare before she publishes the article, and the Phantom is there, and he's basically like, if you mock me, like I'm gonna haunt you. So she changes the article a little bit to be less satirical, but then the editors change it back to be more like the rough draft. And so that's what creates like the dynamic. Like she's gonna start getting new tapes that are like tell my story, and like we're gonna beat it. Like it's gonna follow the same like sort of Christine Phantom dynamic that they have. But and it's gonna be about him being like, I'm gonna make you famous. You're gonna be the most like famous author
So,
of all time and stuff.
so basically, what you're saying is, I'm a haunt him.
Well, you're in the Phantom of the Opera. I think
I'm the
the
Phantom.
no, you're like no, no, I win. I win
I'm
this
the
story.
Phantom. I haunt them.
But I think this would be also a fun way to have like scenes of bands playing, scenes of like people vending art, like just like kind of showcasing the scene and like time capsuling all the cool shit we get to do and having the movie be very like DIY. But then the storyline that links it all together is that like after one of these shows that they do and after they use their little like mascot Phantom, one of the people gets like really fucked up and murdered until eventually the Phantom like confronts the author, and like they have like the classic thing they do in Phantom of the Opera where she's like, please don't, and he's like, nah, I will. And then like the guy has to save her, but I don't know if I would have the guy saving her because that's kind of a cliche. So I don't know what I would have the ending be, but I know the most of the story would be about like trying to mirror Phantom of the Opera as much as I could, with like instead of a
Yeah.
masquerade having like a show, instead of a what's it called, like notes, they can be tapes and stuff like that. I think it'd be
Yeah.
cool if like
Man,
they had a tape and it's changing. Like imagine you play a tape one day and it's one thing, and you leave it in the thing, you don't touch it, and then a week later you play it again and it's different. How fucking terrified you'd be.
yeah,
Ooh.
that's a really cool concept. I feel like it would have been really cool to try to capture like 2023 era of like the scene, just because I mean, I don't know, like I feel like things are still pretty active with everything now, but
It's a
I
bit
just
scattered.
I feel like the landscape has changed a lot since then. I feel like 2023 was such a prime year for like local music here.
Yeah. It. I mean, the only good thing is that a lot of the bands that like I would want to feature are still here and still doing stuff. So I think it would be a
Right,
case of like kind of showcasing the scene that we want people to see, not the scene as it is.
right,
We'd
right.
be like, no, everything was on time. Nothing was ever 2 hours late for no reason. Definitely, the sound was always awesome. It's like how when we take photos of shows, it's like it looks sick, but we both know maybe the show wasn't that great. But hey, we made it look awesome.
Yeah, no, that's what everybody says. They're like, dude, Matt, you always end up shooting videos of bands like and make them like look so good, even though they're not like that good. I'm like, damn, like that kind of hurts.
I appreciate the compliment, but it's like they're not that bad. All right. It's
Yeah, I
just
know. I'm like,
there's
but
just
also the
maybe
bands that I shoot
there
are
just
like,
wasn't a lot of people there, and it's hard to play to nobody. It's not their fault. It's not their fault.
yeah, I know.
It's fucking hard to play to an empty room. Okay, I did stand up comedy. That's just as hard. When there's no one there, it fucking sucks.
Dude,
I've
it's funny how like this, like, because I really like this concept, and I think like last year when I had my event, and people like one of the questions that I got from the crowd was like Matt, how come like every time you make music videos for bands, you're always killing them? And I'm like, no comment.
like, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean subtext? I don't know what that is. I'm just having fun. This is
Mm.
just the having. This is just, totally random, not related to anything. I did have a
Like,
totally random, not related to anything pitch that was going to be like a mystery pitch that was based off of Junior's. So you should tell him, Junior, the things you had in mind for doing promos
What?
for the show.
Oh, my ideas for the promos?
Yeah, like the whole reason I made the masks and stuff.
Oh yeah, so I came up with some like how do you say some I call them commercials. So basically they're promos for the stream. And the first one, which I think is because I think Ray made the you're making the pig mask. So
I can go get it.
uh yeah, so they have like very simple premises. They're made to be like very short form videos to kind of catch people's like attention and stuff. And to kind of maybe edit down to like some kind of form for Instagram so people can just like scroll through it, see it, get intrigued, or even on like YouTube Shorts or whatever. Um, it's supposed to be very easily digestible kind of concepts, but basically they're supposed to play off the aesthetics for the stream and kind of the vibe that Ray wants, but also uh, how do you say kind of go off of like very simplistic movie tropes that you'll see like in some horror movies or well actually all of them are horror movie based but yeah so the first one that we came up with this one is the one that we call well the one that I call the interrogation. um so basically I'll just read it here. Well, I'll just kind of go with it as I read it. So basically
dude, the pig mask is sick.
yeah so basically there's a scene and it opens with a man who's bagged. He has a bag over his head, he's gagged, and he's sitting on a chair in a dark room with a single light shining overhead, right? So kind of like that old movie scene of a hostage and shit in a dark room. um the bag is taken off, the gag is removed as he struggles and makes noises. um so he sees only darkness, and the man calls out, who's there, what's going on, until two shining eyes greet him in the dark. A figure approaches from the darkness, um, asking in a hushed, sinister tone that progressively gets louder as he approaches. He says, "Why weren't you there?" And I think me and Ray are gonna work on that kind of line delivery there. Or I think Ray had some ideas for some to say something different. Um,
What was I saying?
so yeah,
I
I
don't remember what
believe
I
I
meant
took
about this
notes
part
here.
specifically. I was
Yeah,
thinking that
I
I
had.
think we were thinking it's not like
Mhm.
Manhunt, the video game.
Oh, got
Yeah,
you, got you.
yeah,
So I thought
Some
it
like
would be
security cam kind of
yeah.
like fucking
yeah,
So it could be cool like at
like
that point
exactly.
raunchy like
at that point
Yeah.
when he's like screaming why weren't you there, we would like kind of pan a little bit to like a CRT that has like the
Hmm.
stream of us like on stream talking and stuff. And then we're like pitching ideas about this scene that's happening, and we're like actually it would be instead of a pig mask it should be like the manhunt mask and it says please watch me, and then as he says that the scene changes and the guy is now wearing the please watch me mask, and we're like
uh
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, right? And then you're like yeah, that's sick. And then we're like I like that. And then in the chat we like zoom into the stream into the chat and it says it says like kill him, and we're like that's a pretty good
Hmm.
idea. And as we're saying like and as it's like panning in to kill him, you hear like in the background like the guttural sounds of like stabbing, like and you're like you hear like
Yeah.
the guy getting
Yeah.
murdered, and then like the time for the show like fades onto the screen as you hear like the
Yeah.
sounds of murder.
oh,
Yeah. It's like
okay.
they're actively like we're actively writing a horror film. Like
Right, right.
we're discussing like we do on stream about movies and stuff and how like to better write our shit. It's like yeah. So yeah,
Dude,
that's the whole like That's the whole shtick with that first one, basically. And Ray Kim, he made that fucking mask, and I'm like, I'm kind of hype. I want to film that shit already.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Wait, Ray, do you like if I gave you different like clothing material like jean and just like shirts that I might want to use for like a mask, like could you make something for me?
Yeah. I mean, are you cool with me using hot glue? Because I don't
Well,
know
so
how
this
to
would be
sew
like
yet.
oh, okay, okay.
But I
Do you
could.
know anyone that might
Yeah. So my fiance. So what I could do is cut out the patterns and then she can sew it because she has the machine.
Oh,
I
okay.
want her to teach me, so it actually could be a good, uh, like, way for me to learn how to sew. Because I've been wanting her to teach me how to use the sewing machine. But I made like a patchwork Iron Man mask.
No, dude, that's sick. I feel because I have stuff that I've had like just here that I've been wanting to um like I guess like upcycled or reused for like a new mask, but I think I've had like some bad experiences with people in the past that have like literally like I ended up paying this guy and I gave him my materials to make me a mask and then he never made it for me. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. I never even got my materials back.
Dude,
Dang,
what
that
the
sucks.
fuck?
Yeah, it was crazy. So I'm just like, just seeing the way that you do masks and everything, I was like, damn, I wonder if Ray knows how to like sew and could do, um, like a new mask for me, like while I'm like going out to shows or like events or something.
Dude, I have an idea
Oh,
for one. It's my like patchwork Iron Man. So I had like this kid's Iron Man mask that I got at Goodwill,
mm,
and then I paper mache'd it. So then I had like the paper mache one, and then
that's fucking sick.
I took a bunch of those really cheap work gloves that you get at Goodwill, and I just like sliced them into like bits, and then I glued all of the like work glove material onto the Iron Man mask until it was covered, and then I painted it like the Iron Man scheme,
Oh, that's what that is. That's why it looks like.
like
Oh,
patchwork and stuff.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, these are all like little bits of like, yeah, if you can see, they're like leather from the work gloves.
dude, that's sick.
And then I had like a leather wristband that I also like took apart to get like thicker pieces and like little rivets. I wanted to do like a short film, like just a fan film of like a DIY punk Iron Man, because you know how there's like Spider Punk.
Hmm.
I thought like in the universe of Spider Punk, I bet you Tony Stark was like a anti
Iron Punk.
corpo like DIY Iron Man or DIY Iron Man, and he's just like instead of being captured by terrorists, he was like he had to fake his own death. Like he, my thinking of the story would be like he got captured. His parents die, and then he's basically raised by Stain, Obadiah Stane, and he's raised to just be like a make
Mm.
guns, make shit, program like missiles, because he's like really smart. And he's like, no, fuck you. And so because he refuses to do what he's told, eventually he's like gonna expose Stark Industries. So Stain like has him killed, and like blows up his car, and he like fakes his own death by basically making it seem like he died, and he like makes it back to his garage, and he does the whole Iron Man thing where he puts the thing in his heart to stop the magnets, but instead of being like kind of clean like the Marvel MCU one, it would be like all like super like body horror, like gore, and like you see like the fucking like metal ring all like encased in like pus and blood, and just use like latex to make like a really gnarly like light that he has to like work on, and he like wires it up to the rest of his body, and he's carrying like a fucking car battery that he like drags around behind him, and just have it be like made out of trash, and then he like storms the servers, and he like destroys Stark Industries servers and like all the stuff that his all the like weapons his dad had designed, he like destroys all the blueprints for them and stuff, and like wipes the servers. So basically, like forcing all their money into like weird offshore accounts and like bankrupting the company. I thought that would be a cool like fan film, but you know,
Mm.
I got ahead of myself and started making the costume before I actually read anything.
I mean, it would even be cool to just like do like a photo shoot or something.
Yeah, once
Mhm.
I made it, I
You
was
know?
like, that's a lot of work. How about I just use it for cool visuals?
Yeah, like that'd be sick.
I have
Dude,
the glove too.
go to San Japan with me and my nephews when it's that time. You can literally like, there's people who network there. Like, you
Dude,
can get
I've
so
been
many
wanting to go to
fans.
San Japan. I haven't been since I was in high school.
I've been to 6, brother.
Oh
I
shit.
had
It
two
is like a
gloves.
yearly tradition for me and my nephews at this point.
Bro, we gotta pull up to San Japan with the Iron Man costume.
Yeah, Isaac, my nephew, his name is Isaac. He bought a $190 I think it was a cosplay set. He's gonna be Virgil from Devil May Cry. He even got the fake sword and everything. It's kind of crazy. My other nephew Xavier, he's the younger one. He dressed as well. He cosplayed as what's her name? It's from that one anime Konosuba. Uh, it's that explosion girl. Like she's a wizard, but only knows explosion magic. So she's only just like drops nukes everywhere. I actually made her staff, or I made his staff. Sorry. Um, I'll send it in the chat
Send it in the chat.
so I can
Send it in the chat.
find it.
If I would go to San Japan, I feel like I'd have to be like an anime thing, or
No,
at least
dude,
a
If
it
I
Jap-
went,
doesn't.
I would just
at least a Japanese thing.
Nah, like it doesn't. It like it's everything. Like you got people that you
Ugh,
can like
that glove smells
talk to and
disgusting.
network with, and like there's more than just anime. There's video games. There's people that dress up as just like movie characters and
dude, if I
shit.
just went to San Japan, I'm just gonna pull up in my regular mask. Like, what's up?
Yeah, I'm the cosplay helper. So whenever I go, I always just help with the cosplay. I have glue in my bag.
Did you guys ever
Like
see Tokyo Ghoul?
No.
you say that, but literally last week you heard my dumbass playlist on Spotify
Oh
play
yeah,
the theme song
I forgot.
like a fucking nerd.
I forgot you
I
had a.
cringed.
You showed your weeb.
I did. I hit myself.
There's a character in that who's like a guy in a hockey mask in a white suit, and I realized that I have the hockey mask, so I was like, oh, I could just do that.
Ooh.
I could just be a jam Jason. His name's also Jason. It's not very thinly veiled reference. It's very obvious reference.
A
But
very obvious reference.
it's funny to be
I
like
sent it in the general chat.
Japanese people think they're being subtle, but to us it's like not subtle at all. They're like Jason. Well, the movie's not called Jason. It's like yeah, but come on, come on, come on.
True. That was my first cosplay prop. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. I somehow pulled it off in 3 days, and the paint literally was drying, like was finishing drying as we pulled up to the convention, and it was really cool. It pulled the cosplay together. Xavier was really happy with it. He got it signed by the voice actress for the character he was cosplaying as,
Wow,
and yeah, it was really fun, and cool. And Isaac went as Doctor Doom.
nice. He is
They
kind
want
of
me to
Doctor
be
Doom.
some.
He is sort of a little Doctor Victor Von Doom. That is
Yeah,
who he is. That's his sort of spirit character.
basically. He
So, man,
hmm.
I feel like after hearing all of your pitches, Ray, I would say just even like if you were planning on, you know, like actively like because I know you said you want to write the feature. Um, I think it would be good to like do like a working draft of like all of them, but I feel like the one based off of just like what you've shown tonight would probably be the Phantom.
Mm,
Like, because you already have that short already that you
yeah.
created. So you've already taken that step forward into production. And just like knowing the ideas, dude, I feel like Phantom of the Alamo, it's still a budget, but it's on the lower end for sure compared to the other two, especially Chemical Warfare. Like that one's like super like that
Yeah.
one is definitely a high budget
Or
feature
at the very
idea.
least could be. Whereas like Phantom of the Alamo doesn't lose anything by being DIY and like, having the rough edges doesn't take anything away.
Yeah, well, especially because like the world that you would create, and then also like this creature and the props and just like I mean just everything about that world because it's like also set in the future versus Phantom of the Alamo's more modern.
Mhm.
Um, and then Red Wire, I feel like even though it is like futuristic, that one's I think a lot more like practical and doable. Also in the way of like it could still be like low budget, but like considerably like higher than obviously Phantom and Chemical in my mind is like the biggest budget out of like
Yeah,
the the 30.
I agree. I agree with that.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah, I would thinking. I mean, I have other stuff I've made, cause like this idea of like a Phantom of the Alamo movie has existed in my head for a long time, and then I think it wasn't until like I got involved and started going to shows and like like doing the short film that I really realized like, oh, it would be so much better if the Alamo represented like the city and not so much it's just not like a cheap name to be like, I know where that is. I know Alamo is San Antonio. Like, because at first that's why I did that, just because I was like, I want people to be like, oh, San Antonio movie. You know what I mean? But now that I've like sort of ingratiated myself more in the scenes, like, I'd like it more if the Alamo represents actually like the the creative nature and sort of the weird chaotic nature of San Antonio that like I appreciate, or like cuz like yeah, you go to Austin, it's not the same. Like it's cool, but it's not the same. Or like you go to other scenes, it's not quite the same. Like there's really like a different vibe to San Antonio. Like I remember going to a show on like 2 or 3 days after Christmas or before Christmas,
Mhm.
and it literally felt like Christmas vacation, like at school when everyone's like, "Oh hey, we're all wearing our cold weather outfits. It's you and the other guy I know." Like it was very much like we all know, even if we don't know each other's names or like talk intimately. It's like when you're in high school and you're like, yeah, I have lunch with that guy sometimes, or like I have science with that guy. He's cool. He let me borrow a pencil once. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of the vibe when it's like you're at a show. And you're like, oh, I've seen these guys play before. Like I saw that guy do bass for that band, and now he's doing drums for this band. Like stuff like that. Where you're like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know he was in this. And like that sort of vibe is like cool. It would be really cool to capture that in a movie, and then also layer on top of it all of my freaky, fucked up
Mhm.
natures and tendencies when it comes to making films. So it's like combining the two things I do, which is like creepy, weird shit and recording bands playing. So I think you're right. It makes sense to do that one first.
Mm. 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 I'm sorry, I'm messing with D&D stuff.
Uh,
I'm
But yeah, no, I
so,
mean if you get like a working like script or like idea or whatever, dude, if you need some notes on it, definitely let me know.
yeah, I think I'm gonna do some pages before next week, and then we can read through them, and I can we could start talking about character because I already have like I think I already written out some characters, some analog characters, like analogous characters, not analog characters, but like analogous characters to the Phantom of the Opera. But yeah, I'll just write some pages and like we'll like just keep workshopping it.
Yeah, no, dude, it sounds good. Did did y'all want me to talk more about
Yeah, I'm
um
down.
the series or like the universe that I got, or did you want to? I don't know, Junior. Did you want to say anything about the other projects?
Tell me more.
Yeah, he wants to know about the universe. He's in. Let me put the.
I'm sorry. I am drawn in already. I need.
Wait, are you still streaming on Twitch?
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
Oh, okay.
What has Twitch been looking like? Has any we have
Oh,
three
shit.
people. Hello, people.
Yeah. My fiance commented earlier, but I missed it, and she said good night.
Oh.
And we said no
Aw.
videos of corgis, so we fucked up.
Oh. Damn it.
My bad. I had the OBS over, so I couldn't see.
Did you still want to keep streaming, or did you want to
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about
good.
this other stuff?
I mean, I want to keep talking. I'm good. Like she's already asleep, so I'm not going anywhere. So I'm down if you guys are.
I'm down for a little bit. I do have to go to sleep in a little bit just because I got work tomorrow. I'm just finishing up a raised D&D helmet.
Oh, my helmet. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure this thing doesn't hurt you more than it's helping you.
Nah.
Because you're a wizard, and it's and I tried classifying it as a shield, but you can't wear shields because it gives you disadvantage on a bunch of shit.
So why can't it just be a hat?
How would you? You can't just be a hat, brother.
Why can't it just be a hat?
It's D&D Beyond. Ask them. Don't ask me. I have to fix it.
Well, how long you got working on this thing? Because I don't want it to get started and then we have to cut off because you have to go to sleep.
I can push it to like 1:30. I gotta go to bed.
Okay.
Let me pull up the.
Okay, so what do you want to know more about? Do you want more on, I guess, like
What are you most excited to talk about? What do you want to share?
Okay, so
What's on your mind? What's the first thing on your mind when you think about this project?
Ooh, that's a good question.
is the ending to the project.
Ooh.
So just because of just the like the shattered reality of like, you know, Jeffrey like just knowing that his whole life was like lived in a bunker. And just like resurfacing to then like understand that, you know, this bunker underground like augmented reality was created under the very like exact diner that he remembers from when he was a kid. But then how he ends up hearing a call transmission from another group of agents that need help from the agency that Jasmine and her team were working on against him, or like trying to like find a way to like control the door. And so then Jeffrey ends up like just kind of, and this diner like is essentially in the middle of like a flat land, like desert, like nowhere, like just kind of like in the middle of just like nothing. and I guess just kind of like what that means for him now at the end of the story, and just like what he's gonna do or like attempt to do, which I guess is try to find more answers from just whatever this team or agency is, which is the Capture and Contain agency. So my story for Riverside, like I was saying, follows a group that was contracted to investigate the anomaly of a missing documentary crew that was doing a feature on the local legend of the Pigman in Riverside, which is like southeast of Texas. And so as they continue to investigate, my series for Riverside is essentially a founding footage, which would be them finding fragments of missing, footage and media from the team scattered across different parts of the city as they continue their investigation. And so when they discover the Pigman, they actually find out that the Pigman was being hypnotized by something different. And the big reveal, essentially, with the story is that there's another creature that found out how to escape the dimension that is host to the door, which is Jeffrey. So this creature essentially ripped into like reality and infiltrated the town by like, so basically this creature's like abilities for, I guess, coming out of like the dimension is like one of like the most like powerful creatures, is that it has the ability to wear like other living things' skins, which also doesn't have to be like human. Like it could be like a dog or like a bird or any living thing.
Oh shit.
And so basically what the documentary crew of this traveling, YouTube documentary, like, ghosts hunting sort of like crew didn't realize was that by this point of the story, which is what causes the agency to investigate the anomaly of like them missing, is that over time this creature had completely hypnotized like the entire town of Riverside at this point. Was like aiming to just like completely like, trying to like ultimately like hypnotize it, like humanity, and just like be under like the control of like every human being on Earth.
Holy shit.
And so by the time they discover all of this, and like, the story advances with, the agency like kind of like cracking down, one of the bigger like reveals of that story is that Hunter, who's essentially the ringleader of the contracted group, which is leading two other humans and an android, discovers that the creature that they're actually after is his father.
The
So
fuck?
Hunter is half human, half creature.
Oh my god.
And so
Let's just write a D&D fucking campaign about this now.
and so by the time they, you know, discover where the creature is and are attempting to contain it, the reaction of, I guess, them attempting to contain the creature is unsuccessful, as they actually end up, like, you know, I guess obliterating or disintegrating the creature. But by disintegrating the creature, they release the whole town of the curse of them being hypnotized, which they had been hypnotized since like the 60s.
Oh my god.
So like, you know, there was like yeah, just people that like flash forward like all these years in their life, and they're just like, everyone's just kind of existing as like complete shells of themselves at this point. So like Riverside is just kind of like dunzo, but the agency's like at the end is like gonna go in and try to like help, like, you know, rebuild the town and get everyone kind of acclimated to like living in a future society and like everything. But the kicker by the end of Riverside, when they thought that they actually killed the creature, is that by attempting to contain this other dimensional creature, the byproduct of them, you know, using the contain technology actually didn't disintegrate the creature, but it transformed its physical self into a digital virus that infiltrates the fourth member of the agency's team for Riverside, Hunter's team, and becomes a virus inside the member, and the creature just like essentially like transforms into this this other version of itself that it didn't know it had. So by the end of that story, you just understand now that the creature like lives, but is now living in secrecy and just like decides to infiltrate the capture and contain agency.
Oh
Like
my god.
And so but so through this entire story and through the events of the diner, so like we know that Jeffrey's dad was an agent and then got stuck inside the dimension through the door, which this dimension operates through a driving elevator. So this dimension operates where like you drive the elevator to different floors, and those floors can be rooms or hallways or like anything, just like literally like Ray like watching just kind of that like this like you're short and just kind of like how you had the camera with like the light and then just like the garage. I was like, dude, that could honestly be like an anomaly like in this like in this dimension that I created.
Holy shit.
And so there's just like an like nobody knows how many like floors or levels there are. So we know that Jeffrey's dad is from the diner, is trapped in this dimension. We know that when the creature took over the town, the creature took and kidnapped the documentary crew and trapped them in that dimension.
Oh.
And so years pass essentially from the end of the diner to the end of Riverside. And I don't know what I'm calling like the end of like or the next chapter. Like I still don't know what I'm calling this part, but essentially Jeffrey knows that there's an agency that's after him for some reason. And so he goes on kind of his own journey to discover more about like what's happening, or tries to like answer to this call from the previous agents that got sucked in at the end of his journey in the diner, in the bunker, which is Jasmine and two of her members, who were essentially trying to figure out how to activate the door to also get the father back.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So basically what happens is in the third part of this story is that, you know, Hunter in Riverside is already like he's old, like he, or older, like he's probably like maybe middle-aged. And then maybe by the time this third part starts, he's like, you know, old man Hunter, where he's like pretty much like retired, like I'm like done with this shit, sort of like with the agency. Because he now has like a tie, or like knows now that he's like half creature, half human, so he has these sort of like powers that just kind of like, or like sort of like a sixth sense or something. But because the creature transcended its like physical form into like a digital form, he doesn't necessarily know or like understand or like sense that there's like something there, until like all these years later, where the android from their original group ends up over all these years setting itself up to do a complete like digital like virus takeover of like humanity. And so by the time this whole gap has passed, Jeffrey, sort of kind of like just went rogue and trying to like understand his like powers and helping other like agents like on miscellaneous like missions, like so he sort of kind of indirectly becomes like this like consultant member for like the agency, just like not knowing like how to like work his power or whatever. And by the time the android and the creature or like reveal itself and like essentially are creating these like digital viruses to like completely take over technology and like humanity, the door opens and brings back his father, Jasmine and her team, and the documentary crew. And they like spent years surviving like in this dimension, but they never aged like a day. Like time just like didn't like pass for them. It was like they were in and spent like years in there, but it's like they just never aged.
Oh.
So then at this point it's like Hunter has to sort of work with again like this new team that now like is revealed from the dimension to fight against this android who essentially uses his virus to make doppelgangers of humans, like kind of like some Invasion of the Body Snatcher shit.
Oh my god.
And the doppelganger is of like the copies essentially is like mission is to consume the original. So at this point everyone's kind of brought back in like a weird way and has to figure out how to just stop whatever is happening. But the end of all of this is that they can't stop it and everyone dies. And that's how the story ends.
God damn.
That's all good sci-fi ends that way.
Yeah, like it's just like the inevitable, like you just can't like you can't stop it. And um yeah, like Jeffrey is like the first one to go, and then it's like, the dad is like trying to like find all like the missing pieces of like the agency that he like knows, but everyone that he thinks he can trust, like he can't, because they were already taken over by like the doubles. So then it's like he ends up going, and then the documentary crew like kind of sort of becomes like adjacent members within the realm, so they know like how everything works.
God damn.
So they're like trying to like go back into the dimension to like maybe find like clues to like how they can stop it, but they just end up getting just got by that point. So it's like everything just starts to just kind of happen in such a like detrimental way, where the like humanity's like trying to like keep up. And the way I like imagined that story to end, which is based off of a dream that I had, is like Hunter is like the last man standing, and for some reason they were like, society decides to like group people to their designated zones to board submarines to escape land from the doubles. And at this point, everybody's already like dead, and he's like running away from just like like these digital like human clones. And by the time he gets to the submarine, they like scan him, and apparently he's an original, but by the end he realizes that he's actually like a clone, and he doesn't even know how he became a clone in the end. And he like bypassed the system, and now he's like the only infected one in the submarine, and that's like how it ends.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's just like the only infected one in like in a submarine full of like humans, and now he's gonna be the reason why humanity doesn't survive.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Bro.
Yeah, so I guess in a way, those stories and how they like intersect, is just, I guess in a way, kind of like a trilogy, or like a accompanied storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like in my mind, I imagine the diner being a film, Riverside being a TV show, and then whatever. I still don't have a name for the third installment, but I imagine the third installment being either like a graphic novel, or like maybe a film, like film, TV show, film.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like, I feel like the third installment's like more like blockbuster kind of.
Yeah, like definitely
Scale.
blow it out if you could. Yeah, for sure. Such a cool universe, though. I would love to like know what your aesthetics when you think about it are, because a lot of mine are like retro futuristic and like almost like a 60s or 70s or maybe 50s like halted, like Arrested Development sort of, or like halted in time kind of thing.
Yeah, so like I guess the diner would be more like 50s retro futurism. Riverside is sort of like stuck in time, basically because of the creature, but like the city's evolved as the like tech has evolved. So like it would be like a late 60s ish, maybe like early 70s kind of like vibe, because he like slowly takes over the town. So you see kind of like almost like a mixed kind of like aesthetic, like like fashion wise or like culturally. And then but the thing is with the technology in Riverside, there's like a distinct versus like new, Android assistants versus like, like prime Android assistants, which would be like 2000s kind of like tech
Mm-hmm.
ish versus like the new tech would be more kind of like almost like kind of like Star Warsy sort of like in a
Yeah.
way with like certain elements, but like the idea of it being that it's so like it's like blended to where you don't even really know like what time period you're in, and that's also because of like the way the story goes with like the creature. So like it's kind of like in the same effect of like something when you watch like Twin Peaks, you're like, when does this show take place? Like, is this like is this like the 90s or is it like um like the 50s?
Yeah.
um So I guess in a way I was kind of inspired by like that kind of blendedness in Riverside. But when it comes to the third installment, I kind of imagined something more like man, I don't even know, like kind of like more like brutalist, I guess. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
such a stark contrast because like time has moved on, obviously, but then you get like the agents who were stuck in this like alternate dimension that come back who were like from those times. So like you have kind of still like old tech, but in just like this very like brutalist, like barren kind of like world that's just kind of like gone to shit anyway. So like everything that's kind of happening is just like inevitable. Um so it goes
Stopping
from
it.
yeah, it goes from very kind of like bright and happy to like darker. Like
This is the inevitable doom.
yeah, like to like dark, gloomy, like analogy and like Riverside, and then the third installment's just like doom, destruction, brutal, like nothing.
Yeah.
So they're
Holy
all
shit.
very distinct and kind of blended in a way. Um, but
Fuck.
yeah, I mean that's just kind of the rundown
Yeah.
of what I was, what I'm attempting to do. So I don't know, Junior, what are your thoughts on all that?
I like how it does go from like that kind of like bright kind of thing where it feels like the story can go anywhere, but then it's like eventually kind of melds into like that yes, this is the march of time, ergo it will be the end of all things. And I feel like the fact that the story evolves into that way, and the fact that you involve a lot of the character development with it, to kind of tell that story and push that inevitability along, I think that's a very good idea. Because a lot of times, like, I've seen like shows or like movies where it's like, yes, this inevitable event is going to happen no matter what. It's oncoming, there's something you can do. But it's like the fact that you have it in mind where the characters are going to lead into that, where it's like everything that they do is just one stepping stone into that. And it's like, it's not just just a natural event. No, there are reasons why. And I think that the fact that you're going to tell it that way, I think that that's good. And I just want you to write it so I can read it.
Needs
Please.
it.
I need it.
He's
I
fiending.
need it, bro.
Do y'all, yeah, like, do y'all think, like, because I feel that's, like, I mean, I know, like, that's the way, like, I want to tell the story, but it's, like, I'm curious to see, like, when I finally, like, get there, like, what, or, like, how people will take it, you know? Like,
I feel like the way that you like what you had read earlier. I feel like the way that you're going about it is really good because you're making it very personable. I don't think that's done enough because it's like a lot of people are focused on trying to just tell the story and get it going and get it going and get it going. But it's like when you take the time to like settle back and actually write and explain the thought process or the motive of your characters and of your world and how it develops. I think that that's very important. I think that it makes the impact of the final events a lot more hard hitting. Ergo, I want the box to talk, Ray. Anyways.
Well, I was gonna say that I think that the concept is really strong, the story is really strong, and I think we're at a perfect time where you can really like I was saying it earlier, like I don't think anyone is gonna watch it and be like put off by it the way they might have in the past, where people wanted everything to be like straightforward and like they don't want to have to think. I think now more than ever people go to the movies to think and to be like reading 20 levels into everything they see, and
They want something real.
yeah, and I think all the layers you put into it means that you can watch it 3 or 4 times and get something out of it every time. And I think there's a lot there for actors to do too. I don't know who you would have in mind to play the characters, but I know like these parts sound really, really fun and interesting, and a lot of the things that you're like the sci-fi things that you're playing on are like really, really interesting and lead to like some really fun like shots and moments and scenes that would be really fun to shoot and really fun to see. So I liked it.
As do I.
do y'all feel like, I know I kind of maybe like butchered the third act in a way, but like, do y'all how do y'all feel about just the fact that like finally like all these characters reunite for the first time, and as the story progresses it's like they don't make it, and it's just kind of like the inevitable, like, what do y'all think about that?
I think personally, I think that it's kind of bittersweet, and that's kind of in a way that's a type of writing that I really like. I like bittersweet stuff like that because it's like, especially with like how like you're saying that you would tell the story where it's like you have like all these characters that have been developing or they've gone missing, or you have like all these different lines of storylines with all these individuals. To see them all come back is both good and then it's bad because it's like like but it's like I like it. I like that kind of writing where it's like, yes, this is nice, but this is also real life. You know, things are gonna happen. But it's like at least for that moment you're at least happy, and it gives more cadence to the I guess you could say the like the somber joy that can be felt from your character at that moment, but then it's like, yes, but still things go on, you know. I don't know. I personally like it. What do you think, Ray?
I like the completing of the circle. I think that like it's very poetic,
Yeah.
which I think some people might not dig it. I dig it. I like when things have that flow to them in stories. I like the way things come together like that. That circles are formed, patterns are formed, and I think that I don't know if the story would work with a happy ending. So I think that
It wouldn't.
I think that your direction
like,
is the right one. Like your instincts are you're right in your instincts because like
You're on
it feels
point.
right. Yeah, I think it'd be jarring if it was just like and they team up and kick ass. So I think that you have like think you
like,
know
no,
where
this
it's
isn't
supposed
no
to
be.
Avengers, bro. Like,
Yeah, it would be kind of weird if it just took a left turn like that. I think that's kind of where the story is leading, but with good storytelling and a good like if you executed your ideas to the full extent, I think you'd make an amazing like whatever it ends up being. Because like I think that just the story itself is really strong. So
yeah, and like I think to kind of touch on that with what Ray was saying, I don't think everybody would like that because they'll be like, because like a lot of people want that kind of happy ending or whatever. But it's like, you know, first of all, if they were really if they would stay invested and watching up to that point and still thought there was going to be a happy ending, I feel like they're brain dead.
Yeah.
Two, like, but for the people who are into it, who are into that kind of storytelling, I think you would gain like a real like dedicated following from that because that's that style that you'll be putting out there. And I feel like to touch on what we were saying earlier, like people just want something that's real. Like, yeah, like a lot of people just want to go sit at a movie or just look at something and just turn their brain off. That's fine. But it's like a lot of people now are craving thought provoking stuff. And I feel like at the end of that story, at least for me, it would make me think of like, damn, I should probably really just like, personally, I should probably just really like, like really savor the small things in life and stop bitching so much. It's like I should value the people in my life while I have them before the sun hits the earth.
Yeah.
And I feel like because for me personally, that's the kind of storytelling that kind of keeps me grounded and a lot of stuff personally makes me kind of think about things. So it's like I feel like your story would do that, but a lot of people like that. A lot of people don't because it's like they don't want to feel that existentialness. They just want to escape. But it's like at the same time, bro, if you're like already 20 chapters in and you're still thinking this is gonna be all sunshine and rainbows and everyone's gonna turn out to be the Avengers, no, bro.
Yeah, dude. The third installment is like it's like Rogue One or like my Suicide Squad.
Exactly. Like when I saw Rogue One, I was like, they ain't getting out of there.
Yeah, no one's escaping this shit.
like okay, because like I'm very like my first like actual exposure to that kind of writing was Halo Reach.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
Halo Reach.
I was young and I didn't understand like the concept because like it was the first time I was introduced to that kind of storytelling where it's like, no, this isn't a happy ending, it's bittersweet. And it's like I played Halo 3 religiously. I played Halo 2. I really liked the books too as I got older. But like when I played through Reach and I was younger, it hit me because I was like, I didn't realize I was dumb. I didn't realize as a little junior. I didn't realize until I got to the last level and it said survive that I was like, oh, I'm not getting off this planet alive. And like that hit me hard because it was like, dang, like all these characters, all these people did their best. They were fighting, and then like my dumb baby brain, I was like, wait a minute, that's the ship the Master Chief is on. I put all the pieces together at the last level, and I was like,
no.
And I started crying when I was a kid. I was over here fighting the leads. I was like, you motherfucker. But yeah, like I fell in love with that kind of story writing because of how much of an emotional impact it had on me. And it made me really think about things that it's like, yeah, you can try your best, you can do whatever you can, but still, sometimes things are still gonna happen. Like it's like life is still gonna go on. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. And it's like you have to find some kind of solace in that. You have to make peace with that, And it's like, won't get into any personal shit, but you know, it was kind of foreboding for shit that happened later in my life. So it's like, yeah, you know, it taught me a valuable lesson, and I feel like these stories are important, you know, for people. It's like, come on, bro. Like you can't just stay in this bubble where you think that nothing bad is gonna happen. Things are gonna happen. Sometimes you can't do nothing about it, and you can't
Right.
you can't let it bring you down either. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta keep going. And it's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Write your fucking book.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Writing the diner this week, I was like, oh man, yeah, like I think it's time.
Yeah.
Um,
The sun's shining. He's like, yes,
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I have the production Bible and everything I did for Riverside back when I was in college, like 2019, 2020. But the third installment was actually based off of a nightmare I had when I moved back home. Same thing with the diner, you know. Riverside was actually a series that's had many iterations since like 2016, like from 2016 to 2020, and then I finally like set in on like this like concept. But then the diner and again this untitled third installment, I'm like, you know, just kind of happened in such a natural way that I just was able to connect and like make this like larger story. So but yeah, dude, no, I appreciate y'all giving me, you know, feedback and thoughts on it, because yeah, dude, that one's been in the bank for a minute.
Yeah, dude.
Nah,
It's time to do a much needed withdrawal.
Yeah, you needed to like
You need
hear it back to yourself.
Mhm.
Hear it out loud.
I mean, I'm by no means a professional writer in what way whatsoever, but one thing I do know is how media and writing, music, books, TV, I know the emotional impact that it can have on somebody, and how much of how much it can make someone's mind, you know, work on like self-reflection and also like to send a message. And it's like I feel like your story has all that. I mean, literally, when you wrote the diner, like, yeah, like it made me feel those things. So it's like it brought me in, and then it was like, oh, and then it left on a cliffhanger, and I won't. So it's like, yeah, like I feel like you have something on your hands there, and I have nothing but praise for that. Like, I want to see how you refine it and how you keep telling the story. You know, that's what I'm excited about, because I want to see like where you, like how you're gonna go, how you're going to describe these different events that take place, and then see how you'll articulate it. And I'm curious and also excited, because I have a feeling it's gonna be really fucking good.
Yeah, for sure. Like I want to see. I just want to like get my hands dirty and like make costumes for it and like see it actualized and like.
Oh yeah,
Dude, yeah, I would love to see
dude.
that shit, like, even if it's
Yeah,
just
dude.
like a short one that we could like get together and make over a couple days, but like I would love to actualize and just, even if it's like, yeah, like you end up making it a book or something, we could still do promos for it and do some in-universe shorts just to like, you know, get it out there and get people interested in it, because like there's so much of this that sounds awesome, just like sounds awesome to shoot and like make real, make tangible.
For reals, bro. For reals.
Dude, no, that would be sick. I feel like I've always had a strong kind of vision for how like everything would like play out, at least in the diner and Riverside, and then certain sequences like in the third installment, like based off of just like those dreams that I had, like, are just like there. They've always kind of been there. Um, but man, yeah, that means a lot. I would love to try to do something that's like contained. I think that's why I wanted to write. Why I kind of pushed myself to write the short, because I'm like, this story is so much longer, but like if I could just write like what like maybe one of that sequences would be of them like interacting in the diner, and just like things kind of start to like tremble, and now he's like remembering like what's happening, like what that would like look like, or so. Um, yeah, I mean, even just like maybe like adapting something like that, just finding somewhere to shoot would be really cool to like, visualize and
I'm literally like
bring to life.
pulling together my whole brain. There's one place I went to. It would be kind of hard to find and get there, but I mean, it'd be pretty sick to do, just like to make it happen over a weekend or something. But when I was driving to LA, one of the times I moved there, me and my dad took a alternate route or something, or it was like right after we crossed from New Mexico. No, not Mexico. From Arizona into LA. And we were in the middle of fucking nowhere. We were starving. And we stopped at this diner that was like UFO themed. And there was literally nothing near it. And like, there was no rhyme or reason for why it was there. It was the most surreal place I've ever been to in my life.
Wait, it was a UFO style diner, you said? Dude, what if it was a UFO just like chilling that disguised itself as a diner?
That's what it felt like. That's literally what it felt like. Because it, like, the only thing that made it a diner was that like we actually ate food. Otherwise, I would have believed like it didn't happen. And that
oh my god, wait, dude, a fucking pitch right now. Like that same exact scenario, except you just remember this like memory from when you were like really young of like you eating at that diner with your dad when you were a kid, and then years later you run into, like as you're like an adult, you run into doppelgangers of how you looked then and how your dad looked then.
That
oh
would be
shit!
So trippy.
And it's like you're like looking at yourself when you're like a kid, and then you realize that diner was actually a UFO.
Dear God,
You're a clone.
And they cloned you.
Not the probes.
I mean,
They just use your DNA from like the leftover fork or like coffee.
Oh shit!
To clone you.
Or you just never left.
Or you just never left.
Oh shit! I found it.
Oh my god, dude! You never left, and then when you look back at yourself, you realize that your whole life up until that point is a simulation, and you're still just trapped in the UFO.
Yeah, it's like something in the food, like so you're just still there, like.
Yeah.
This is the restaurant, though.
Holy shit!
I can't believe I found it so easily.
Dude, what?
Oh my god, he found it.
It's not as cool as I remembered it, but it's because I saw it in the middle of the night.
No fucking way. I'm pulling this over now.
Damn.
All right, Ray, I fixed your Fushigi orb and you got your helmet.
Yay, Fushigi.
That's
Wait, what was wrong with my Fushigi orb?
I gave it some things.
Your Fushigi orb?
Yeah, we.
Yeah, he has a
about
Fushigi.
What?
our D&D campaign. I'm a wizard, but I use an orb instead of like a wand or a staff. I have like one of those ball things.
Yeah, he has an orb, and basically he can try to suck the soul out of a slain creature. And I gave some rules for that, but I also gave some cool shit that you might want to read up on when you have a chance.
Okay. Is this the orb I'm about to get for all my manticore spikes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is your upgraded orb.
Nice.
Dude, when are we gonna start the Cyberpunk campaign?
We need to do it.
You know,
I gave you the manual.
I know. I'm sorry.
I gave you the gun. Remember that?
I know. No, I'm working on it. I've been rather busy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to make sure I get rent.
Oh, dude, no, we'll do it at some point.
Yeah, no, we definitely will. I'll find some place or some way to do it. I believe. I just gotta make time.
Oh, it has a
Gotta make a
hotel.
day. It has a what?
The hotel next to it is also UFO themed.
That's kind of funny.
Is it all connected? Can you just stay at this fucking restaurant? I think you could. Imagine showing up there and eating there every single day. You're like, yep.
God.
They have a conference room that looks like dude, we have to shoot. Oh, we have to shoot something here. Hold on, let me send this to you guys. I know it's kind of ridiculous to go this far out of the way, but it has
Where's
a
this at
CRT
again?
in there still. It has a big ass CRT for no reason. In the meeting.
What?
Tiny pool.
A tiny pool.
This would be the place to shoot the thing you're saying about, like, you never left this little, like, hotel and cafe. You've just been, like, here your whole, like, you never leave. You, like, wake up in the pool realizing that your entire life is a lie.
Space Age Lodge? What the fuck?
It's connected to the restaurant, dude. It's all one thing.
Bro.
I can't believe I've eaten here before. And I recognize it immediately.
That breakfast don't look half bad though.
I forced my dad to buy me like an alien to put on my antenna. He wasn't happy with it. He didn't find it as amusing as I did because we were like half asleep.
Oh my
It has a
God, they got
T-Rex.
French toast.
It has a classic,
It has a
you're in
little
the middle of California desert, so here's a giant plaster T-Rex for no reason.
Wasn't this in Toy Story?
There's a lot of places like this in California, I feel like. It's like all of the
Shit.
stuff near Area 51 is all like alien themed.
Kind of want to go here.
Can you imagine just like
Dude,
planning,
that's sick.
planning a trip to go here and just like eating at this restaurant every day, getting like just
It's like so-
blitzed, getting just drinking so much because you're not going anywhere. You're in the middle of the desert.
They were like, "Why are you here?" Well, I'm here for here.
We're gonna
Like,
eat this burger, baby. What's up?
I made it.
Because it's
like-
literally one of those places you don't stop. Like, you're not supposed to stop unless it's just for the night. But imagine being there for like a week.
Yeah.
Like, what's up? All right, I'm gonna go fly my
Bro.
drone. See you later, guys.
Get integrated into society. They're like, "Oh,
Out
yeah,
of this
they're-
world breakfast.
Out of this world breakfast. Holy shit.
That meeting room, though,
This
is
is
like, I
awesome.
want to hang out in that meeting room. You could tell, like,
Bro.
everyone who's here is half asleep from driving for 15 hours in either
They don't really
direction.
know why they're there.
They're like, why the fuck are we? You imagine buying a plane ticket to LA, renting a car, driving to this middle of nowhere, California.
They got fucking enchiladas. What the fuck?
It would be funny though for the lols.
Bro, this food don't look half bad.
Okay, I think I should end this drink because I think Junior's gonna stay up all night if I don't kick him off and make him go to sleep.
Oh,
Dude, it's right across the street from Faith Assembly of God and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
You know those guys are
Fuck
like,
yes.
this is against Jesus. You cannot be
Getting
having
crashed.
aliens."
There was no aliens in the
You gotta-
in the
You gotta eat this bacon cheeseburger and then go confess.
My dad has a wild theory about aliens.
Good night, stream.
Bye, stream.